Right. Oh, are you able to hear me, mate?
Yes, I can. Just give me one moment and then we'll start properly.
That was a bit scary. You sort of the voice from the deep.
1 sec.
No, I can't find the chat. Where is the chat? There you are. Okay, well, I don't know if you're live. I can't hear you, but I can see you.
No, there you go. That's me live on YouTube.
Welcome.
So it turns out that when you go live on YouTube, although I am hiding and I am completely inconspicuous, you've just been sat there for the last 5 minutes. Everyone watching you just.
I swear, I thought you were going to say
that. So yeah,
fantastic. Apologies
there
in
you
that
go.
case.
Let's move us over, and if I do that and that, then I can be there. So here we are. We are live on YouTube, and we are side by side. Everyone can see us. I'm Liam. I'm your host for this evening, and that over there is Stu. Hi, Stu. Stu is a good few bottles of wine. Sorry, a good few glasses of wine into
just a second.
in
fact, the others over there, I'm sure.
You'll have to excuse me. I have got some kind of a virus up in my chest, and I'm all gunky and awful, and it's not the best. So if I die coughing, that's because that's why really. But we're here, and I think that's the important part. I'm just going to drop a link into our original chat.
I can't
There we
believe I've
go.
just been sat here staring at the screen.
Oh
Fantastic.
man,
And
and then I was
cheers to the
talking to
chat for
you.
letting me know, by the way.
Like, yeah, like there was no hiding from it. Once it was up, it was up. So I can control the virtual camera and I can put on different overlays. But unfortunately, Zoom won't allow me to. I'll have to turn you on and off. Maybe I have to maybe. Well, I have to play with it. I don't know. Oh, I can stop your video and stuff. All right, whatever. Okay, look, we're here. This is the important part.
Is your chat working?
The chat is working in YouTube. I can see people arriving.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Let me see if I can find it on my phone.
If you got any questions, please do drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. You know, this is going to get better for us as we start to do these. I appreciate we have technical difficulties every time, but the difficulties we're getting are less and less and less. So this one was because I changed hard drives yesterday and I couldn't find any of my pictures. So anyway, listen, shall we get into the satellite feed? Because there's been some massive changes around Javier, I've heard, over the last 6 days, and we should have a look. Do you agree, Stu?
Absolutely. Sorry, I'm just looking for I'm just looking for the link on my phone. I want to see the chat. Here we are. There we go.
In fact, that's the harder part, because I'm looking at chat, which is there's a slight delay from what we've got going on, and not looking at you. That's kind of I'm not sure that's going to work. Right. Okay. So what I'll do then is I shall share my screen, and I will open up.
Well, firstly, congrats to the battle hardened who are still with us after the shenanigans of this year.
Thanks for my nice new shirt. Fits as well, which is nice. It does up, which is always always a good start. I don't like the fact that Zoom goes full screen on me. Let's see, Chrome, EOS. So, Stu, what's been going on in your world for the last 6 to 8 weeks?
Yeah, back at work, back up in the city. So we'd have asked for this 2 years ago. Not working Mondays and Fridays, not working from the city. So yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday seems to be what most companies are doing on a temporary, semi-permanent basis, i.e. follow the leader and see what happens. But yeah, I'm enjoying being back in the city, enjoying being back at work. Can't say it feels like life's back to normal. How about you? You obviously don't live in around England. But...
I can't stop moving my camera. I'm not happy with my thirds. The thirds are off. It's annoying me. No, it's been quite hard here actually because Mrs. Bottle Rocket has tested positive. The kids have been positive. So for the last 24 days, I've had someone home here every day with me, and having to avoid them completely, but keep them fed and watered. So,
in all this time, you haven't caught it.
I'm saying nothing. But I now have this virus, but I'm not yet tested. I'm not testing positive. I'm testing every day. But I can move you over here. Look, you're on my screen now. I can see you. I suppose everyone else can see you. Oh, look. So, yeah, there is an awful delay on. It's not awful, but there is definitely a delay on YouTube.
Oh, you're zooming into your house. I can see the Isle of Man.
It's a secret. No one knows where I live, right? I actually live over here in. Come on, kids, get off the internet. Yeah, no, there is a slight 2-minute delay, but no, I'm not giving you a twirl, Lucas. Who we got in the chat today? We've got Harry, we've got Vidubya, Mohammed, Kerry.
Habari's here as always.
Al,
good to see
Mr. Anderson, Costa.
Frank's been up and running for a while, since this afternoon.
So yeah, this is where I live. I live in Morocco. Yeah, that sounds legit. I live on the coast over here somewhere, definitely. Right. Okay, so I'm going to move you over because you're in the way. That one, and let's run to Javier on. Pictures 27th, that one. I presume the volume's coming out all right, everyone? No one's complaining they can't hear us, so I believe that's working fine.
Evening, Terry.
So, here we have Javier on in all its glory. I've not looked at this, by the way.
Gosh, that's
so
changed.
The first thing I'm going to do is, can you see my screen, Stu?
I can, yeah. Everyone else in the chat?
Perfect. So, I'm going to darken it down a little bit and make it a little bit easier to see. Oh, look at that. What's that? That's quite impressive.
What contrast are you using there? Yeah, volume good. Evening, Finn.
That is really wicked, whatever that is.
Good
I wonder
to
if that's
see all the
water.
regulars here. Does look like a fair amount of water there, doesn't it? All down the bottom there.
It looks like a bit of a swimming pool. Anyway, so there's the portal as always. There's the camp.
That
So
famous
the last time we checked in, they were down here at Teach, of all places. I'm getting faster internet soon because I have had enough of this. And we want the one from the 22nd of October. And then we'll let that load up. The stream should stay solid now, Haytham, because Zoom is managing it and not my internet. So even if I fall off and fall over, Stu will still be there in full high definition for you.
Well, this time let me know. Just
don't make me laugh. It hurts. Okay, so we are now looking for. Do you know what? I might switch actually to the Scally overlay so that we can see it.
Oh, where have you gone? I've lost you.
There we go. They were down. No, they weren't in the 12 blocks I have here on. They were just off the. There it is. That's where they were. Look, down here. So the pad's definitely changed shape. Can you see that down there in the bottom? That pad is definitely
little black dots arrived.
Let's come back to.
It'd be interesting to know if do a time estimate on Artemis's drilling.
Well, we're going to go up there and have a look in a moment because I think the RNS should be out shortly. There it is. Look at that. If that's not a set of machinery.
I'm having to zoom in here. Hold on. That's better. Yeah, I mean, that looks like a rig. There.
I can't, left and right. Where's my left and right? Hiding. So if we go left, that one, back to default. There it is. So what works for one area doesn't work for another. So that there is I mean, that looks very much like that's a rig because you've got the nice blue, which would be the water. And I mean, that's what we're looking for really, is a splot and a splot. So two splodges, one of which is blue, normally indicates that you have got yourself a rig. So that's down there on Teach. If we run north, there's a to Archie, how would you say Artusis?
Excuse me if I'm looking blank. I'm just refreshing the ASX. refresh. So how many holes are we thinking tonight, chat?
Oh man! So
we're going 5 to 25, but it's always a good time to guess before they're out.
Let's put them in the comments.
Can you put a poll on? I don't know. How do I put a poll?
I don't know if you can put a poll on YouTube.
No, on the chat on Great and Gold. How do
Oh,
you
yeah, we
close the
can put.
poll?
And I'll leave that to you because I will just
Oh,
get distracted.
what's Andy? Yeah, I'll keep it.
So anyway, I'm now looking for. Why won't that load up on the right hand side? Have I chosen the wrong satellite feed? It feels very messy this evening, Stu. I don't feel like I'm in control at all. I'm very like all over the show, like just
Well,
not even concentrating on it.
you potentially have COVID, and it's 10 in the evening. You need to know you've been locked up with the family for a month. You know, you could forgive it.
Yeah. So there's my two drill pads for Articusis. They're all the way up here,
13
and it looks like the sump's gone in. So they're preparing the sump, but it doesn't yet look like. And I've chosen the 27th for both. I reckon you have. Okay, so I need to come back.
The poll's running in the chat. So.
Nice, but is that the YouTube chat or is that the Greatland chat?
It's the Greatland, but I'll keep relaying it as we go. But 13, 18, 19, 15.
But in YouTube we've got 12, 19, 10, 8, 13, 10 to 12, 15, and 6 from GS. Nice one, GS. Thanks very much for dropping by today.
Your services are no longer required.
You've been fired.
Look, I mean, I'm thinking. Although I'm hoping for 18, I'm thinking if they didn't catch the tail end, and it's there was still a bit of delay, between 13 and 16, anything below 10. Let's be honest, everyone's going to be disappointed. Not that it should affect the share price. It's as long we don't care how many holes. As always, we care what's in them.
Yeah, absolutely. And if it's less than 10, then I think we've every right to throw out teddy bears.
Here's a better focus. What do you think the maximum gram meters, that the largest hole tonight in gram meters is, chat? So that's your
gram meters. So
your width times by your grade.
Okay, so if we was looking at the 100 meters at 10 grams per ton, that would be 1,000. Is that right?
That would be 1,000 gram meters, and obviously anything over 1,000 is classed as spectacular. And I think had 5 was 265 at 4.7. So 1,300.
I'm getting my calculator out because, frankly, I'm not going to be able to do this anyway. So my favorite hole so far.
You can see it as well. Yeah. Let's hear it.
My favorite hole for a long time was 85 meters at 11 grams per ton. Yeah. However, I think this evening we are going to get a stonking 113, right? 113 meters at a whopping 12.5 grams per ton, 1,412 meters. I thank you very much. If that was my microphone, I'd drop it.
No, keep holding it. You're going to need to be back at work tomorrow.
125 at 7.5 grams a ton. Alan says 125 meters is 7.5 grams a ton. I think Alan,
that's a beautiful have intercept. I wouldn't say that's average. I mean, that's spectacular. But if we saw that tonight, we'd be like, yes. I mean, that's huge.
We shouldn't.
Our biggest was 121 at 7.2, wasn't it? Our biggest ever. I think that's our best hole. So yeah, we'll have some of that.
Yeah, I don't get why this thing's not loading up.
27 holes like my local golf course, says Decay.
What's he got? Has he got moles in there or something?
Sounds like he's using my clubs.
Mohammed says a round figure of 1,500.
Right, 1,500. Okay, just for anyone listening to put into context. Yeah, my goodness, it's. Sorry, I just got distracted. Happy birthday to someone at Stu's house. It's happy Halloween.
Good try though. Whoever was trying to get in on that. Good try. Right. So anyway, I digress. Back to surfing for things on the.
What's our time at the moment? Well, we're 13 minutes past 10. So we're getting into the zone. Okay. I'm going to refresh it.
So Here's Articusis. Here they are. I've actually got the right dates now. So this is the 21, comparing the 22nd and the 27th. And as you can see, we've got there's a blob there, and there's a speck of something here. So that probably is going to be the sump. They're probably building that to be ready for it, and not much change there. Now, what we really want to do to get everybody in the mood, is come over to oh my word, look at that. That's sticking out like a sore thumb. So that
really
is
yeah. It's
the pair of them.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
That's Zipper and Javier on North that's getting some action.
But
and
I mean, you're not able to do scale on here and measure that back to see the actual distance of that to.
You mean if I take this one here and do something
distance between and then distance to our main ovoid? Yeah.
Just wait for it to load up. The ovoid's going to be about there. Let's say this is 2.5 clicks. Ish, give or take.
So
2.5 clicks. I mean, the northern Breach is around here somewhere, so maybe 2 kilometers away.
So, I mean, obviously, connected's almost impossible to believe. It is impossible to believe, but cluster is very, very probable. You know, I don't know about you, but I'm super excited. The little I know of geology, at how excited the geologists are about this. Everything you read from all different geologists, it sounds like a unique deposit. And that's pretty crazy. Think about how long we've been on the planet. We've found something that's potentially unique.
This is interesting. Excuse me. I don't know how to mute it. Hang on, where's my mute button gone? Someone stole my mute button.
Oh, there we go. Let it out. Let it out, Lou.
Oh my God, that was gross. That is really stuck down deep. Is all this up here at Artemis?
Barry Calvert.
How many areas they've got cleared up for drilling? They're going to drill the bejesus out of that.
Giving Barry a tut because he's gone for 8 holes. You know what? He's almost certainly probably the closest. But you know what? I'm staying optimistic. I'm going for 15 plus. 15 plus, I think, is a. And
there's the camp. So maybe they're not ready yet. There's definitely no. The sumps that look like they're in place, but there's no machinery.
Mm-hmm.
But so they can't be too far away. Can't be too far away at all.
Do you know what I was thinking also, which maybe someone on the chat can help? In the jury JV, even though we're managing it, I think because obviously it's a JV, we should potentially continue with that rig through the whole of summer. But as far as focusing on any of our 100% owned, I wonder if we're able to go through any of the summer or if the drilling season ends December.
Well, I mean, they animated that they were finished until next year, didn't they? But when we look at Black Hills, let's just pull that up so you can see what we're talking about. If we come back to Swan, I need to change my left-hand image to one that is a little bit further north. 22nd, who stole that one? 27th on the right-hand and left-hand side. Try that. I've probably just broken it now. It looks like there is activity going on up there. At least that's what I've been told. Which is really cool, really. I'd like to think that they are going to go through. I mean, if Newcrest have said, well, actually, we're going to spend a lot more money on this, you don't spend money unless you're willing to find out what else is going on.
Yeah, there's so much psychology involved, isn't there? How do you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to turn around and say they found gold, they're going to mine it, because that would be really, really not silly, but irresponsible to come out and say that so early on.
It's almost the opposite, I think, because of that reason. If you had found gold and lots of it, you simply couldn't really just. Well, it depends if there were timeframes on them announcing that second stage of the JV. But in my opinion, they realised that the whole Patterson's potentially got an endowment, and they can grab 70% of a lovely parcel of land from us. So move it forward for a cheap 17 million. Doesn't matter if you drill it for 2 years and find nothing; it's still probably worth it, considering where it is.
Well, yeah, and obviously they should announce that tonight. We should see that come out in the whole thing.
Yep.
So here's the Black Hills camp. There it is up there. Look. Oh, something's disappeared. There was something here and it's gone. Look. So on the 22nd, there was a black blob, and on the 27th, black blob has gone.
It's probably a camel.
Do you know what? Did you see the picture that Paddy posted?
I did.
Was it not Paddy? It was Artemis, and Is it Artemis? Why do I keep getting them confused with the other lot? Antipa, that's the other lot. I didn't even realize that you could get a camel in the desert in Australia. Like, I didn't even consider the fact, because you never ever hear anyone talking about Australian camels.
Totally don't. No,
No, but then all of a sudden, when you think about it, the kids have been singing about Alice the camel, and Alice is such an Australian name that Alice the camel is probably an Australian camel. But Mick Dundee, when he was giving it, that ain't a knife, this is a knife, mate.
Oh, good accent. I like it.
You never once saw Mick Dundee go, good struth, Sheila, go and get me a camel, or anything like that. He was very much like, that's the crocodile, I'm going to go make a phone call. And you never say, I'm going to go and get a camel. So the camp's changing a little bit. Should we go and have a look at Goliath while we're up here?
I'm just going to do a few mad refreshers, although I'm quite sure the chat is going to be bouncing. Can we take slow mode off the chat? I'll monitor it. Where is slow mode?
Well, the reason why slow mode is on the chat is because I don't really want people in that chat. I want them on YouTube, so I can talk to them.
Good point. So how do I see the chat on YouTube?
Oh, I've just logged into YouTube and the link that I sent, and that's how I'm viewing it at the moment. I'd like to be able to pop it out. Pop out chat. Bosh. There we go.
Where is it?
I've popped the chat out. Oh. Create poll. Ask a question. Holds. I'm just trying this now. I don't know if it's going to work. Oh, yes or no? Oh, I see. 5, 6, 8. Add option 10. Oh, is that it? 15. 10 to 14. Oh. Let's see if we can get a poll going. -5. Ask your community. I have asked my community. There's a poll down there at the bottom. Have a look at the poll and let's have a quick vote, see what we can get. It's not the best sets of answers, I appreciate, but I was only allowed to have 4 options, which kind of sucks. But pop it out. What kind of channel is this? Very good. No, not -5 holes, Costa. Less than 5 holes. I used the wrong. I can't edit it, so you'll have to live with it. I'm afraid. I should have used the what do you call it? The less than sign. So, Stu, you've been here for a long time now. When we get these results come through every 6 weeks, there is this cycle that we seem to go through, and yet for some reason, out of everybody that I know, and we're up to like 1,300 people at the moment, you are the most excited out of everybody. I've genuinely noticed that. You are so excited for these results every time. What is it that you look forward to?
The fact that I remember when myself and Paddy were sort of joking when we were getting the second set of results, I think, and we were on LSE going, if Carlsberg did drill results. And I remember putting a post and sort of saying they'd be open at depth, they'd be open northeast, southwest, they'd be, this. And that post was, from all the research I'd done until that time, the absolute, my imagination, and we ended up sort of having a better RNS. And then there's been 12 of those, 13 of those, 14 of those since. I think over that 4 or 5 year journey, learning about ore deposits, how unique they are, how long they last, how they can change countries' economies, individuals' economies, how it's a very long road. It's almost a semi-lifelong journey as far as your investment life is concerned. Most people don't get into that too early.
No, and it's crazy, isn't it, how in depth, especially when you get hooked on a single share. There's so many people that invest and trade on multiple shares. But actually, I think that there are those shares out there, whether it be us or our Russian cousins, or some of the other probably maybe miners, that people are lifetime investors, aren't they? They are, and that's their only investment.
Me.
No, absolutely. Just a side note, Harry says camels were first introduced into Australia in the 1840s to assist in the exploration of inland Australia. Between 1840 and 1907, between 10,000 and 20,000 camels were imported from India.
Okay, it's out.
Now,
It's out.
India.
We're getting word it's out. Let's have a look.
Okay. I mean, we need to slow down because people are, and please, if you're in chat,
No,
please don't spoil it for me.
We got a troll. We got a troll, I think. Well, unless he's got a faster internet connection, but I doubt it.
Well, it's two. I've got two in my chat that's telling me it's out.
Oh, really? He has got a faster internet connection.
I don't know why I'm going to ASX for. It will take forever to load.
I was going to say, yeah, somebody posted in the Telegram if you're able. Oh, I'm so excited.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Actually, I should just do it here so people can see what I'm doing. I mean, it's probably just the exploration report. It's not actually the report we're looking for. Are these quarterlies?
Want the exploration?
Because we do this every time. We go, oh, it's out. And then we load it up and then we scroll through it and go, that's not actually the report we want. The one we want's coming in 3 minutes' time. Oh, look at the time. I was so close.
What is the time? Oh.
21 or 23. Quarterly exploration report, NCM. Look at it. It came out at 8:19.
Yeah, where's the...
And it's not working. Whoop, whoop.
Here we go. Quarterly report. Where's the
40
exploration
pages.
report there?
40 pages.
Excuse me.
Whoa. Someone's saying get off of ASX, get into Newcrest.
Oh right, got you. Okay, Newcrest, September 2001 exploration report. Boom, straight in. Okay, here we are. Let's get it up.
Right, if you're in your chat, please don't spoil it for everybody else.
Now
reads me. No, not that one. I want. Are these quarterlies?
You've got. Oh, geez, right. Exploration update. 9th of September.
Oh, look how quick that loaded. Boom.
No. I got the wrong one.
Oh, I think I got the wrong one.
No, I'm still not there. Where are we looking,
yeah.
guys?
Who's sending me duff information here?
Yeah. I've got the 9th of September.
I've got the 30th of September.
You do?
Oh, no, that's the one we want. September quarterly report released on the 28th of October.
There we go. There it is. And then there we go.
Oh, man, these amateurs.
No, hold on. So
and one of my bosses.
Is it just the quarterly report? There's no exploration?
No. So this is what we've done, you see. We've got all excited. It's out. No, it's not out. This is the one before it.
I was going to say, this is just the quarterly, isn't it? All right. Let's have a scan through and somebody give us a shout on the chat.
Javier on is mentioned 29 times. So,
good old control F.
Javier on Western Australia. They are talking about the studies identified the following 100% terms, 1,500 gold price, talks about the IIR, the NPV, 304 Australian dollars, an initial probable ore reserve, we know this already, 14 megatons at 3.7 grams per ton gold and 0.54% copper for 1.6 million ounces, which is, it's a fraction of a fraction, and we cannot say that enough to everybody that this is just the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. So we've already seen that. The latest it's coming out very shortly. Someone will tell me in a moment. We are just going through the word Javier on.
September quarterly report. It's still the same.
Boring. Let's look for jury. Oh, injuries. You search for jury.
You see, they're ruining it in the chat because I still haven't got this goddamn report. But it sounds good. Someone help me. Someone post the quarterly report, please. I mean, the exploration report. I don't want to know what it's showing. I just want to know where it is. Okay, let me go and look at Newcrest again.
September quarter. Here it is, look. Right underneath it. Have you got it? Do you want it?
There we go, 30th September. No. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
For the 3 months ending the 30th September.
Got you.
So Javier on. This is the highlights. New growth drilling continues to assess. Are you reading this, Stu? Assess
Just getting it
depths.
up, yeah.
Southeast Crescent, new intercepts show an increase of both grade and thickness with increase in depth. Had 133 wedge 1 has returned 133 meters at 7 grams per ton, ladies and gentlemen, and 5.5% copper.
Not much
Sorry,
copper.
0.05% copper from 1,446
Wow,
meters,
steep hole. Very nice.
including a whopping 55.9 meters at 9.7 grams per ton, and that's 250 meters below the inferred resource.
Just stop there. Like 250 meters below the inferred mineral resource. That's insane. Look, what's clear there is the gold's getting stronger and the copper's getting weaker.
That is two football pitches.
Clear.
That's 2 football pitches down, isn't it?
The Southeast Crescent now has a vertical extent of over 900 meters. It's a kilometer down and open. Like you said, it's plunging to the center of the earth.
All the way down. Results received from infill drilling support the modelled grade and thickness within the Southeast Crescent Zone. The results also support the continuity of the high grade, and in some places upgrade the zone as represented by had 117 wedge 6, which returned 120 meters at 6 grams per ton and 0.6 copper.
Wow. Look at that, guys.
That
is one of our best holes. If not the best gold equivalent.
This is the best gram meter intercept drill to date.
Do you know what?
At 1204. What? What did I say? I said 1400 something, didn't I?
But also, it's going to be the highest gold equivalent, because look at that copper. 60.66%. That's high copper. Where's this from? 706. Where is this? We need to find where this hole is. We will look for it in a moment. As far as the drill results go, forget the share price, everybody. If you're really in this for the long term, that is what I wanted to see tonight. I'm a happy bunny. That is immediately. I'm going fantastic. That is just. Where is it? Where is it? Please tell me it's in something like the Eastern Break.
Right, I'm scrolling down. So here's your significant.
No, let's slow down. We got time. So carry on.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So I'm on to page 2 now.
No, just carry on reading.
You want to hear what because Sandeep bangs on about Red Chris for some reason.
Screw it. You just go straight down to have.
Javier on the. Go on, keep going.
No, you go.
Oh, okay. The Javier on the infill drilling program continues to demonstrate high grade within the deposit, and the latest intercept returning 120.4 meters at 10 grams per ton gold and 0.66 from the Southeast Crescent Zone, which is the best gram meter. 120.4 meters at 10 grams per ton. Shove that in your cake and eat it. Oh, look, Red Chris, 56 meters at 3.5 grams per ton. You've got a feel for them, haven't you? I'm going to scroll down now. We've got some infills and.
I like the way they're actually describing this. We'll see it on the diagrams better. So 23 meters at 5 grams. Fantastic. 600 meters.
0.7 copper from 613.
I mean, almost 1% copper there. Wow.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, 50 meters, 8.6 grams per ton. And yeah.
2.2 that's an infill southeast crescent. So, but again, it's a lot higher grade than everything being reported at the moment.
Which is crazy, because isn't it 3.7 grams per ton on the PFS? So anything more 3.7, you're laughing, because that's pushing the average up.
When people talk about grade smearing and all the rest, often with these deposits, from what I've seen, the grade gets weaker. You start off and you do hit the sweet spot, or you hit a nice vein, and then you get all the surrounding stuff together. And this isn't just proving the continuity; it's improving the grade as it goes, which is great. That's where you say a tier 1 just keeps giving.
Oh man, 12 meters at 5.3 grams per ton and 0.02% copper. And then we've got Had 86, wedge 3, 44.7 at 7.1 grams per ton from 1,400 meters. And that is an open intercept, including 20.
Look how high grade that. Whoa. Jeez, 20 meters at 15 grams.
They must have been chunks like that.
But again, as far as stoping goes, this is getting strong. There's no question about the fact that the grams per ton is getting much stronger at depth. So it gives me more confidence, because the stoping method is going to be the best method to go after that stuff. So
absolutely. Had 120 at 10 grams per ton, so that's our favorite one.
In for hole again. So that's your southeast crescent zone, but that is massively raising the grade as far as on our upgraded
look
resource.
At this, including 27.1 meters at 18 grams per ton.
Christ, I can't wait to see where this is on the diagram.
Including 14 meters at 38 grams per ton and 1.2% copper.
Gosh, that is just fantastic. I mean, if Artemis tomorrow reported just a 14-meter intercept at 38 grams, let alone 120 at 10,
it's crazy.
Absolutely berserk. Wow. So far, and we're only halfway through, but so far these look like our best results.
Oh man, it's amazing
that we've ever had, which is saying something in what we're 17 in or.
Had 133 wedge 133 meters at 7 grams per ton, including 55.9 at 9.7 grams per ton and 0.04% copper. That's from 1400 meters again. 133 wedge 3.
And the consistency, just look at the consistency there. That's 133 meters at 7 grams. Yes, the copper's going down, the gold's going up. Thank you, I prefer that. But then you're not seeing what the grade's moving. You're not seeing 1 meter at 400 grams per ton. You're seeing 55 meters of that 103 is only marginally higher. It's 9.7. That's really important when you're trying to understand a drill hole length. Bams I wish he was on. He explained it much better, but that's really important information there. You don't want to see loads of tiny, really high, golds over 2, 3, 4 meters. That's not helping. That's a fantastic hole. I mean, that's not far off the hole above it. Yeah. Other than obviously the copper. No, actually, the hole above it's ridiculous.
And then you've got wedge 3, 29 meters at 1 gram per ton, 29.1 meters at 3.2 grams per ton, 0.09, 44 meters at 5.7 and 52 meters at 3.2. And that's a really good hole, but that's nothing, is it, compared to the others?
These really are incredible results. Wow.
It's lovely. Right, I'm scrolling down slowly.
Yeah, let's have a look where.
The Red Chris, Javier I'm on page number 6 at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. 23 holes return significant assay into. Right, hang on. The Javier project is centered at a deep magnetic anomaly 45 kilometers east of Telfa. A total of 26,548 meters of drilling has been completed from 42 holes during the quarter. This report, recovering results from 33 holes, 18 holes completed this quarter and 15 from the June quarter. 23 returns significant assay intercepts of 50 gram meters. A total of 210,629 meters of drilling from 254 holes has been completed.
Wow.
Excluding holes in progress, abandoned, or drill holes which have not been sampled. Drilling reporting. The focus was on resource growth from the southeast crescent, northern breccia and eastern breccia, and infill drilling in the southeast crescent zone to support the potential conversion of the inferred resource to indicated. Drilling included the southeast crescent zone. Assay reported for 3 holes and partial results for 1, with 5 holes. So there's still 5 holes awaiting assays.
Okay.
The southeast crescent
infill. That's less than
I
thought, actually. Okay, growth. Sorry, that's growth. So those are going to be interesting to look at. Look
at
where those are coming out. Yeah.
The infill results reported for 10 holes, 17 holes awaiting assays. So that's now 21 still outstanding. The northern breccia, 14 holes with 2 outstanding.
Wow.
And the Eastern
5
is
in the
reported
Eastern.
for 5.
This is the blockbuster we were hoping for.
It's coming.
Man.
It's coming.
This is the blockbuster.
I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best.
I know. I'm trying not to scroll. No, don't. I'm not reading. You just carry on. That's what people are watching for.
I'm building my own anticipation here. I am so excited.
Too. I'm doing it with you. This is fantastic. Just the smiles getting broader and broader.
So I think we've already covered had 86 and had 133. So we'll leave those for now. Do you agree?
I do.
Excuse me. Horrible noise.
So these are all southeast crescent holes. That's all that really needs to be said. We know what to expect there, but these are some of the best we've seen.
Yeah, a further 27.
All of those are increasing the grade in the mineral resource we have, which remember was overall, what, 2 grams per ton?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
I'm just going to read this from the Southeast Crescent report. A further 27 infill holes within the Southeast Crescent zone were completed, 10 of which have returned assay results. This drilling, not live, this drilling is designed to infill the Southeast Crescent inferred mineral resource volume to 50 by 50 metres, spacing to support the potential upgrade of a significant portion of the inferred mineral resource to indicated mineral resource. Cha-cha-cha-ching. That's what that means.
Significant in itself. That's the word significant portion of the, we know the fraction of the fraction. We've all been.
Yeah. Results received from infill drilling support the model grade and thickness within the Southeast Crescent Zone mineral resource extents. The results also support the continuity, that's a hard word to read and say live on air, of high grade, and in places upgrade the zone represented by HAD 117 wedge 6, 120 point, I gotta say it again, HAD 17 wedge 6, 120.4 meters at 10 grams per ton, and 0.66 copper from 764.6 meters. This is the best gram meter intercept drilled at date, 1,204 grams meters.
It's just a beautiful thing. What were we saying? We were saying this today, that we felt we might get it. And come on, man! After just go back up. How many thousand? That's 210,000 kilometers of drilling.
Crazy.
Just let that sink in. 210,000 kilometers. How long would that take you to drive in a car? They've been doing this for what, 18 months, 2 years, and how many times have we seen best intercept to date?
How many times around the world is 1,210? Did you say
1,210,000 kilometers?
Let's find out.
It won't be around the world, surely. It'll be around Australia.
If you were to drive around the world, how long would it take? I don't know. This is not helpful. Like Google was supposed to give me the answer, and it failed miserably. Anyway, back on the results.
The proper question: How long would it take me to drive 210,000 kilometers at an average speed of 50 mile an hour?
HAD 53 is a rubbish 75 meters at 2.9 grams per ton.
How disappointing! How disappointing! But look.
However,
but in all honesty, that is a bit blank, because you've got 14 of those meters at 13, so that's skewing it a little.
It is.
It's not as.
But
nice
look how far down that is. That's 1,300 meters down. 1,000 meters down the hole.
Obviously drilled in an angle, so we don't. It's very far down the hole. We're not sure how deep it is, which is always something I find a little strange. Maybe we'll see it in the appendixes to know exactly, what the true depth is.
Tom says it's halfway to the moon. We've got 23 meters at 5.7 grams per ton and 0.7% copper, including a 15 at 8.6.
That's where we're going to start stoping. So again, that's important, because much higher than the overall grade. 23 meters is hugely wide, and 0.7 of copper. So this is the stuff we're stoping first, guys. That's where we.
This is all money. This is all money in 23, 24, isn't it? I mean, that's what this is.
That is fantastic,
and beyond, because this is.
I'm genuinely gobsmacked at these results, and I don't say that lightly. I've read every single one of them 13 times over the last 5 years.
Are you ready to discuss the Northern Breccia?
I don't know. Wait, we should just carry on down. So 70 meters, 2.2. Yeah. Okay. Had 64, 42. Yep. We'll see where that is on the map.
Oh, Gary Donnelly has said it's not kilometers, it's meters.
Yeah, 1,000 meters. Okay, so it's 21,000 kilometers.
Oh, that's not that far at all.
21,000 kilometers, pretty far.
Welcome
Not as
to
far as
GGP Help
210,
Chat.
not as far as 210,000 kilometers.
Yeah,
That's
welcome
pretty
to
fast.
GGP Help Chat, where reality is we are not helping you at all. We're filling you full of it. 117 wedge 4 is 78.1 at 2.1 grams per ton, which is a lovely little hole at 0.2% copper, including a couple of incepts at 3.7 and 3.6, one of which is 1% copper. Very nice too. Had 117 is 111 meters at 1.1 grams per ton and 0.03% copper, with a wedge 6 of, oh, here it is. Let me just make sure I've got this right, Stu.
That's interesting.
117 wedge 6 is 120.4.
Wow, but just that says so much, because look at that. It's the same hole. So we got 111 meters. Like, just imagine you're a driller out there, and this is where the 1,000 to 1, analogy of one finding it and then becoming an action going all the way to production. They've only just missed it. They've got 111 meters at 1.1 at 0.03 copper. That's not commercial. That's not commercial. At that depth, if you drilled that hole as a discovery hole, share price would tank. And then you do a wedge out of it and you get that below it.
You'd never have done a wedge though, would you? If you'd have turned up 1.1 grams per ton at that depth, you'd be like, oh, do you know what? Let's just walk away from that.
It's quite spectacular how that hole.
And then you've got 100.
But don't forget that this is still in the Southeast Crescent, because look at the depth there. So we're not talking, we know that things are increasing at depth. That's from 764 meters. So, okay, start reading the Northern Break here, because I'm just in total shock.
The results from 14 drill holes are returned, and a further 2 drill holes are awaiting assays. The focus of the drilling in this zone is to expand the mineralization. So let's just go back 1 second. This is only just in the Southeast Crescent zone that we've got all this excitement.
As far as I know, looking at those depths, those all look like Southeast Crescent. We'll see on the map.
No, that's the Southeast Crescent zone, isn't it? So now we've got the Northern, which is completely different again. 14 holes, 2 waiting.
So this will be interesting. Results from 14 drill holes. Good God, it's bumper, and a further 2.
They've extended the mineralized breccia footprint around the inferred mineral resource extents, with reported drill holes supporting extensions. Drilling has confirmed an increase of continuity, got it right that time, of internal higher grade crescent-like mineralization in a northwest mineralized corridor, which now extends up to 300 meters in length and 100 meters wide.
And remains open at depth.
So it's 3 football pitches by 1 football pitch.
Bam's going to be all over these volumetric calculations. It's fantastic.
Now, are you ready for this?
No, I don't think I am.
So this is the Northern breccia, 22.5 meters at 2.6 grams per ton and 0.15% copper. A wedge of 52.3 at 2.1, which is very nice again too. Had 89 wedge 3, 106 at 0.96, 0.1 copper.
Still got a vein in there. So
including 15 meters at 2.8 grams per ton and 0.2% copper. 126.7 at 0.66 grams per ton and 0.7. So that's a very small hole, but there was an inclusive area of 1.3 grams per ton. So I mean, that's more of what we talk about, isn't it? Is they've made that hole look good by that little.
That's exactly it. 126 meters. You think, wow, that's almost commercial. Look, it's shallow again, though. Look at that. You're starting, and again, so you're getting the same trend. If you just look at these holes, you're starting at the top there. You've got 2.6 over 22.5 meters. Lovely commercial, in most circumstances. But it's starting from 1,200 meters. Obviously, not true depth. And then obviously these are getting shallower and shallower. So you're getting the same as we're getting on the other side, except possibly deeper. This is just me visualizing. I could be completely wrong, and so anyone in the chat correct me. But again, you're looking at increasing grades at depth. So yes, 0.66 isn't spectacular, and it is grade smeared because it's 12.1 meters of that 126. So only 10% of it carries. But again, we've got to look and see what the cutoff is. And understand the whole in the context of what it is. So 138, 157 meters. That's a long hole. goodness me, you're still looking at 150 gram meters there, which is commercial at anyone else's discovery, and boom, there's a high grade 16.1 meters in that. So forget the 157. That's a stoping target. There's a crescent in there. We'll see again. We should see it on the diagram. 29.1 at 9.7 grams. Hello.
Had 141, 87 meters at 1.8 grams per ton, including 17.8 at 5.7 and 0.1 copper. Had 147, 35 at 1.9, and had 147 wedge 2, 72.3. And the Eastern Breccia.
That's a mix. Just quickly, that's quite a mixed bag of results there. And I think from looking at the ones above, you can see how we went from that 1.1, up to 10 grams just by doing a wedge in the same hole. I think what that tells you is that this is finding loads of mineralization, and there are high grade veins within it. So brilliant results for the Northern Breccia, man. Oh,
sorry, Baxter's come to say hello. Hey, buddy. And he's not named after Callum, by the way, as much as people would like to think that he's named after Callum. He really isn't.
Come on, you got to claim that, surely.
No, we've had him since before I became an investor, sadly. Okay, so the Eastern Breccia assays for an additional 5 holes targeting the strike extensions and previously reported drill holes 83 and 84 have been received. Interpretation of the results indicate potential for a separate northwest trending corridor. A separate, not the same, a separate. So that's three zones in the same space. With an alteration footprint of approximately 100 meters, with crescent-like higher grade zones developed internal to the Eastern Breccia. Significant assays were returned for the 2 holes, 84 wedge 2 and had 141, which extended higher grade mineralization up to 200 meters to the northwest of had 84. Drill testing and interpretation of geological mineralization controls of the Eastern Breccia is ongoing, including had 84 wedge 2, 49.8 at 1.5 grams per ton and 0.002% copper from 1,473 meters. Wow. And then I tell you what, my voice has gone really deep and grouchy.
Yeah, it's disappearing.
I'm gonna go and find Mrs. BR. Hello. Anyway, enough of my
this is fantastic. Wow.
43 meters at 2.7 grams per ton and 0.06% copper from 1,642 meters. This is a long way out. And had 141, 23 meters at 1.7 grams per ton. And so there's no copper in that. That's just mostly gold. 8 rigs are currently in operation.
What's evident there is that looks like a different deposit type.
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if it's got different minerals in it. Wow, this has just got clusters everywhere. That's a block cave bulk drilling target, obviously.
Absolutely. 8 drill rigs are currently in operation, including testing extensions in the southeast crescent zone below 4,200 meters, extensions and definition of the Northern Breccia associated internal higher grade zones to support potential. Does your glass keep refilling itself? It doesn't seem to have ever gone down.
Because I've had my mouth open staring at the results for the last few minutes, so it hasn't had much love.
Expansion for the existing inferred mineral resource is nice to see you. Additionally, infill drilling is ongoing to the inferred mineral resource. This tease must be something in it. Resource limits to support ongoing mineral studies. Refer to Appendix 2. Now, talking of tea and coffee. There's been a lot today, and thank you so much. And I'm going to make sure that Stu, as much as he won't like it, Stu and his kiddies will also. Oh my word! Look at that. That's a work of art.
Look at this, right? So these are good. These are good to have a good plus 100 gram meter intercepts, which in anyone's language is commercial. Forget about the 1,200 gram meter we got. I mean, look at those. Look at them in the context of the other drills that have gone through there. That's a very broad piece, and everything that's gone through there has hit over 100 gram meters.
I mean, that's quite clever where they're targeting 2 spaces and they're targeting 2 zones at the same time.
Yeah,
that's clever.
And what's great is look at that one at the bottom by the southeast crescent deeps target. It's coming down. It's coming down to the south, and there's to the right of it all those others. I mean, this. You look at all the red parts that are outside of this mineral resource. You can easily see why we're. I've always tried to maintain my expectations at 10 because 10 is a tier 1 resource and it's huge and it's family making for me. This is 20 million.
Easy.
It is.
The question I've always had, Stu, is every time they put a drill in the ground, they take gold out of the ground. That's less gold for us to actually make money from. That's a lot of gold they've taken out of the ground already.
No, it's a pinprick. It's a pinprick in when you look at it is a kilometer worth of pinpricks. So I do hope that they refine it at some point.
Do you know what I mean? Like the cynic in me says there's no more gold left because they've drilled it all by just looking for it. Okay, I'm coming down to the next image.
That's the picks and shovel play. You just back up your truck behind the Intertech lab and you clear out the waste. A little processing plant down the road.
I've come down to the next image on page number 10.
Okay, good, because I'm still mesmerized by the one above, but I'll come down. Right, so we've got your dive running through.
So you've got your Crescent inferred resource.
Wow.
And then you've got the 200 meters below that's got some stonking results of it.
So look, your dark purple's your resource, and you pretty much have all of that purple around it still to go. So you're looking at a third there. And then below it, you're looking at an additional third of the third above it.
That's crazy.
And look at where those drills are. I mean, what's interesting is how close some of them are to the dike, still returning 7 grams per ton. I mean, over 133 meters.
That's just gorgeous.
And how can this? I always say this every time, but how could the share price not react to this? I mean, you've got to be a fucking invalid to not be able to see how good these are if you know anything about. Sorry, that. Yeah, it's just wow.
Oh, page number 11. You'll like this one.
That's impressive. Jeepers creepers.
They've changed the shape of the image again.
I have. This is always the favorite image. This is the screensaver.
There is so much detail on there that you just can't do anything with it.
Look, what's quite interesting though is they seem to have closed off the Southeast Crescent high grade, don't they? They've outlined in black where the mineral resource is.
Yeah, this is at 4,300 meters.
Very clear to see it's how much bigger it is, but the Southeast Crescent zone's not going right the way around at the moment. You remember how we started off with it?
Yes.
All the way around the ovoid.
They're keeping that narrowed up. This is a plan view schematic of the horizontal slice at 4,300 meters RL through the Crescent sulfide zone and brecciate hosted zones, showing extents of 0.5 and 1.5 grams per ton leapfrog grade shells within the highlighted new reported intercepts for this period. Also is the Eastern breccia mineralization outline projected, and there is ongoing drilling to confirm the zones. This diagram highlights over 50 gram meters intersections drilled during the quarter, which are over 1 gram per ton. Lovely. Wilkie, that's not us. Jury. The Jury joint venture is a farming and joint venture agreed with Graham and Gold with respect to its Black Hills and Patterson Range East projects located in the Patterson province, approximately 50 kilometers from Telfer. What? How's that further away than Javieron? That's further away. That doesn't make sense. I suppose Goliath is. The Newcrest has met a stage 1 exploration expenditure of $3 million and now holds a 51% interest in the venture. Under the terms of the agreement, Newcrest has the potential to earn an additional 24% joint venture through expenditure of a further $17 million over 3 years. Greatland Gold will manage so that's it. Like, we had a whole RNS on it, and they've gone from one paragraph on page 12. Assay results from the initial scout drill holes at Goliath, Outer Mind, and Los Diablos in Patterson Range East have downgraded the potential for Javieron-like targets at these prospects. Okay. Results from the initial drilling at Parlay and Saddle targets in Black Hills are pending. The current and planned exploration program will include the completion of ground electromag surveys and further targets at both Patterson Range East and Black Hills.
Okay, so that's reasonably important because I think that's managing expectations, isn't it?
Yeah, and but they've referenced Javieron, so they've not said they're crap. We're not even going to look at them anymore. They've just said there's not Javieron. But then there could be multiple veins that are different every time you move on. Do you know what I mean? Like with the crescent zones and breccias and these pipes, if they're going to be different, and it's a different type of ground anyway, where the like Black Hills, for instance, the cover's changed, doesn't it? And it shallows out.
What's so strange is that the Black Hills, the nuggets on surface and all this, but no, we got to be true to our group and true to our viewers. That's disappointing. That to me takes away some of the conjecture and the blue sky thinking I may have had, maybe some of you have had, with the fact that they moved on to the next stage. They've quite simply spent their 3 million, and they either couldn't move on to the next stage if they didn't move on to the next stage, or they could. They haven't found anything. Dust is dust until it's not.
Just thinking. We're moving on. Just thinking here though. So Goliath, Out of Mind, and Los Diablos. I mean, they're all in Patterson Range East, right? So could it be, and this is just conjecture now, that actually Black Hills has got their attention and they'd much rather spend some time concentrating on Black Hills than going another 20 or 30 kilometers up the road, because it's closer, isn't it?
I mean, well, also, if they're following our exploration expertise, Black Hills is what we went for straight after Haverian. So it was clearly our best prospect with the information to hand. The fact that they say they're going to do further electromagnetic surveys. Yeah, no offense. How many fucking times do you need to fly over the thing? Well, this is like my 4th electromagnetic survey. Fuck off with your electromagnetic surveys. Sorry,
just draw the damn thing.
Jesus Christ! If it wasn't there the first time, what did you think? You just got a better pilot this time? Maybe they do. Maybe it's that scientific that it's sort of a needle in a haystack. But no, that's disappointing. The Black Hills and Saddle Reefs targets, I wonder if those are the ones we'll get in early November, and I hope they sort of hold out for those. And because maybe again, if that's not, it's been announced now, it'll be announced tomorrow. I would have thought, at least with some even just reference to this, what Newcrest have said, and they can probably move on. I don't think that then has to be announced actually what was in those holes.
Yeah,
they can just say, look, we haven't found anything there, and move on. They're not significant. They're not share price moving. So yeah, small disappointment, but shit, who cares? I'm here for Haverian. Anyone who is here for the long term should be here for Haverian. Gold exploration's tough. Who needs to find anything in Jury when every time we drill a hole outside, hundreds of meters outside? What are these footprints are 600, potentially another 600 meters to the northwest.
Yeah, you don't need Jury. Like,
we really don't.
Especially if there's other footprints inside the Javieron that they're drilling.
Yeah, let's just keep discovering at Javieron. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so Appendix 1, Red Crystal.
I've actually come all the way down to page 30 now.
30, right, I'll be with you in a second.
Make it 29, because that's where the drill hole data is. Not that we need to go through it, because we've already gone quite in depth, but I didn't want to go too far ahead.
No, 29, got you.
So I'm just going to kind of graze over that because we've gone through them all already. There's some very long holes. It's crazy. 1,700 meters. Had 141. That goes up to 1,900 meters.
That's the first time I've seen, there's 2 or 3 times I've seen no significant assays, which is, how long is that hole? That doesn't actually tell you.
No. But what's funny is they're wedges.
Yeah, and again, there's two after them pending, and then you've got one that's hit what? It's hit 8 points. Like, look at this. So you've got.
Where are you? What hole?
So I'm had 53, 053, wedge 4, no significant assays, and then you scroll down, wedge 5, wedge 6, wedge 7.
Assays.
We've got 15 meters at 8.6 and 23 meters at 5.7. I honestly, sometimes I think the only thing about gold exploration is once you've found it, just keep drilling around it.
Yeah, no,
because
absolutely.
the hardest thing is finding it. That
Yeah.
really these things do just keep giving. They do just keep getting bigger. The time frames may extend, and I think for most people we've got such a luxury of having that process implant at Telfer. I think even I'm guilty of thinking it would be even faster than it is, but that's just because I'm not looking at it through the lens of where you really make money in this sort of type of investing is 5 to 10 years. It really is that sort of length of time, and most people don't even want to entertain an investment that takes that long. But that most people don't get rich off an investment. So
it's funny because like what it does look like they're doing is they're sticking a drill down, it's coming up and it's coming up empty, and they're like, shit, just move it another degree and go again. And they don't find gold, they're just moving it and then just pulling it up. Because if you scroll through that list, everywhere where it says no significant assays, the next wedge is like wedge 8 had no significant assays on had 57. How many wedges are they going to make?
61. So a few pending.
I mean, that's quite clever, isn't it? Is making multiple holes off of one. I guess what they're doing is they're putting in one major hole and then taking like a fork off of them all. Would that be? Is that how you kind of see it?
That's how I see it. Yeah. I mean, see, there's your 1.2 meter at 63 grams. I mean, but then your cutoff is 30. But what's encouraging about that is at least when we're into production, I think a lot of the stuff is going to be underestimated. I think you're going to find these high grade pockets where suddenly you're going to make a lot more revenue than you expected.
Yeah. Especially when you got massive numbers. Right. I've come down to page 34, mate.
34. Oh, goodness me. Right. I'm there too.
Right.
That's a great diagram.
And that's what height is that at? Does it tell you what height? No, that's just.
Good Lord, look how far out they're still finding, which has got to be down towards the Y shape on the satellite pictures.
Yes.
look at the ones at the top. So what are we? Those are previously reported. So that's 9th of September, but so far outside. So that's all eastern breccia.
Yeah.
So your 3 sort of eastern breccia holes, which is just.
And can you see down towards the in the east side of it, next to where the crescent zone is? There's 2 sitting outside there as well that aren't coloured in. And there's one due south as well, right at the very bottom of the crescent zone. That's sticking outside the resource. And
there have been from the last few results. So that's previously reported are the blue ones. New results this release are the red ones. I mean you're filling in the whole middle there. Come on. Every time we look, it's just got all these millions of little holes across. This whole ovoid is obviously going to be filled. And when you consider how small the MRE is within this, you've just got to keep going back.
And that's what the market doesn't understand.
No, it's just about
a fraction of a fraction. This is a 40 or 50 year project, and it is going to return billions.
I've gone down a page.
I'm coming. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Sulfide crescent zone dives deep. I like that. Oh,
it's interesting to see where these are. So, your copper's definitely nice and strong up in that southeast crescent, right at the top, it is if Carlsberg did ore deposits. I mean, what would you, if you were a miner, what would you want? The stuff at the top being high grade copper and gold. So you've got a hedge, you've got 2 revenue streams, and then go down to the bottom and you've just got pure flipping gold getting stronger and stronger.
But just not any old gold that is getting stronger and stronger the longer it goes on for.
Because remember, you're building your block cave from the top here. So you've got your gold, you've got your copper, you've got your hedge, you've got the least risk to build a 5-year block cave, and then you're going to end up getting your stoping of the highest grade gold at the same time as your block cave comes on.
We, Stu, have got some guests in our production chat that we should really listen to what they have to say. I think we'll
Right. I think we're at the end. Where is our chat, production chat on Telegram?
Yes, the
second.
TV live chat. So that's not like it's Bamps and Magic. They're in our Telegram. We have got a small group for the production, for the producer, and Bamps and Magic are in there as well.
All right, there we are. I'm in.
So, Magic is actually watching us live on YouTube. Hi, Magic.
Evening, buddy. He says these numbers are stupid.
Let me just, if it's here if you want it. Oh, that sounds awful. I just want to. I don't know how to add people to my chat.
Let's see. So Jamie, yep, the jury JV is disappointing, but better scout, test, move on if you're not getting anything exciting. Limited budgets, can't afford to waste time on needles and haystack. Black Hills looks superior at the moment. Totally agree. And don't forget, the real upside for us guys is Havarian and it's Scallywag. You know, the fact that we have Newcrest funding us, you know, having a joyride around the Patterson and with a funded rig from them, happy days. These aren't our first preference targets. Scallywag is, Havarian is, and we have control of those. We get the most benefit out of those. Let's have a look.
So he says wedge 2 and wedge 3 look like they were very shallow holes. Wedge 6 was 901. So he's basically he has been discussing what we're talking about along the way. Bamp says they've hit the weak spot where Newcrest historic hole 3 was drilled.
Thank goodness Newcrest hit the weak spot back then, eh? Bamps is typing. Rational says hide the jury's results in this excellent report. I think that's a valid comment. I think it is just a spectacular report, and I'm quite glad that they've managed our expectations there and gone forget about Goliath for the moment. Look, what's a bit strange is it was not strange at all. Goliath is a huge target. They've missed. They're going to fly over it with some more fucking magnets.
We are about to get a guest join us.
Oh, lovely!
Live on YouTube. He can't take it any longer. He is coming on. Everybody, we do have an appearance from Magic. Let's see if I can find him in the waiting room.
See, that'll serve all the people right for leaving early.
Hopefully, he'll just join straight in. So what we need to do right now is,
look, amazing results once again. You know, I've run out of superlatives.
Where have I heard that before? That's hilarious. So I mean, what does it do for the share? We should have a look at some of the YouTube comments actually and see what some of the folks say on YouTube. Jay Kelly says, I've not even looked at this. I've just read going straight for it. As much as disappointing for the Patterson Range East targets, it's better to test and move on. We have Black Hills area, which is looking more promising. You've got to prioritize the best ones. Absolutely. Celeriac says, ASX opens in an hour. Will these improve the NCM prices? Probably not. They never seem to. And Compulsory Fun says, it just keeps giving, and the feather in the cap after that. Let's scroll up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to impress. I mean, it might improve Newcrest price by 0.002, but obviously you've got to put that in context of a 23 billion Aussie dollar company. It's nothing inclusive for a Newcrest shareholder. It's quite fantastic for a Greatland shareholder.
Choddy, someone called Choddy, not sure who that could be, says Eastern Breccia is half of Have.
As in scale.
It must be, yeah. It's not far off, is it?
And remember, we've just what's interesting here is how much we focused on the area where we found gold. They didn't go, hey, let's just step out everywhere and just drill random holes. They focused on where they found gold to fast track this as quickly as possible. So what's lovely is this is all still to come. They're only just starting to drill, and those 4 holes we've got, you can look. There we go. That's the diagram to look at. Look how far out that is. And they don't know if it's any long because they just simply haven't drilled there yet. And that's strange because you kind of think if they found something, you just, I don't know, put a drill here and send off your wedges in a 360-degree fan.
I think what I'd like to sorry, I don't even mean to interrupt. That's really rude of me. But what I'd like to see them do now is actually put some drills up here and drill through it this way. Here he is.
Well, that's going to be interesting to see Zipa and the new targets. Obviously, they're 2.4 kilometers. They're pretty far away.
Hello. Oh, he's coming. He's coming.
They have to have come from somewhere, and I wonder if it maybe Newcrest are playing a bit of a neurology play and saying, "Hey, Artemis is chucking some in there. Let's go have a look."
Hello.
Yo. How are you, mate? I can, yes. I don't know if the headset's working. I think you're on your. I think your laptop is working your laptop audio is connected as opposed to your microphone.
Right, I'll fix that 1 second.
There he is.
This is a new one. This is a new one because my other headphones are the sound comes through one ear.
Oh, that's not good.
I don't like that. I'm used to it with this, but
pretend you're a DJ.
I can switch to. Yeah, it should be through my headset. I'm looking at the microphone and speaker settings now.
Okay. I can hear and see you all right. Okay.
Well, that's all that matters. Anyway, I've been watching along. I got back late from my work. Had to eat. Had to go pub.
Absolutely.
All these things. But no, I mean, I'm going to say it now. These are, in my time investing in GGP, easily the best results we've had.
Yes, they are.
Like they are. The numbers are crazy. I couldn't keep up with them. You go down to the table. I'm seeing double-digit, gram per ton intercepts, but not just that. With that one, which was like the best intercept date, it's like it's just a ridiculous hole.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And the thing is, like, we'll get on to jury because I feel like if there's, I was reading it through, I was like, there's got to be a negative somewhere, and that was that. We'll get on to that. But before we do that, like, I did make some notes as I was going along. So, we've got 5 holes awaiting from the Crescent Zone growth area. We've got 17 more from the infill. And we've got 2 holes awaiting for the northern breccia. The bit I was really interested in, I think everyone has been a little bit interested in the eastern breccia leading up to these results. I mean, I haven't been on like LSE a whole bunch, but I have been on it a little bit.
You lucky man.
and but even in the background, sort of been hearing, there's been lots of talk about, or the good chats that is, about the eastern breccia and this idea that we've basically got potentially a different ore body there.
What's your take on it?
And they've given us a clue here because they've said that you've got a 600-meter alteration footprint. It's a separate northwest trending corridor, but they also say that we've got crescent-like higher grade zones that are developed internal to this eastern breccia. That's different because when you look at the cross sections, our crescent zone for Havieron is on the outsides, and the breccia is like on the inside. So there's a different morphology there. Obviously, being so deep down, I've kind of, in my head, when you start getting down to like the 1.8 kilometer depth, you have to start questioning: are you still in the host rocks for Havieron? Right? Are you going to be, or are you in a different set of host rocks? And that can start to change. What the minerals and what the deposit type could be. So whilst they haven't confirmed any tin, tungsten, nickel or anything like that here, what they have done is they have at least, and even with Sean Day's comments, in previous presentation, they have started to hint that the Eastern breccia is obviously, a little bit different.
That's very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
just because there's so few
impressed.
holes there, and there's the width between them. That's a big box to put over from what I can see, sort of 12, 13 holes.
Yeah, it's for me. I mean, what was good is every single target had something that was exciting. The Eastern breccia looks like it could be a completely different thing. We're getting more and more of these insane intercepts in our southeast crescent and deeps target. The northern breccia was nice.
Yeah,
it was pretty consistent.
Which
I do
which
think
is all we want,
lower
isn't it?
grade.
That's your block cave. So all we actually want is consistency. If you came to me with an MRE for 9 million ounces at 1.5 grams a ton, I'm not going to be upset, or 1 gram a ton. If just the consistency and the continuity is what we need there.
Yeah, exactly. They've finally coloured in the diorite more on this diagram, because even in the past ones, it's been really faint. And I couldn't tell where it was, but now they've got this like ring shape in the center. So when they say nested intrusions, this is probably what they mean. So you got this like diorite that kind of form. It's almost like a Russian doll, isn't it? It's like there's your diorite, and then you've got this sort of breccia around the outside. Then you've got like the crescent zone. So it is kind of like a nesting. Weirdly, they don't show the diorite on any of the cross sections. So when they show you like, oh, we took a slice through these holes and this depth, and they never show you where the diorite is. So for me, it's got to be deep down. Otherwise you'd see it. But I'm so happy with just how these results have panned out, because we've waited a long time for these holes.
We have, haven't we?
And it needed to be good, and I feel like it's gone up. I think it's gone better than I thought, really.
Yeah, totally agree.
With the jury, though,
brilliant.
Look, I mean, the thing with that, it's when you're exploring, no matter what deposit it is, you are, as much as you do your geophysics, as much as you do all of the geochem surveys you can, when you drill, you're making an educated guess where things are. And in exploration, you're gonna miss. It's as simple as that. Now, have they kind of missed entirely here? We don't know, because all they've said is that they downgraded the potential. Yeah. Doesn't say like there's an absence. What they mean, I think, is that they've had a look at these holes, and clearly they haven't intersected anything that's outrageous. So
and is that going to be not the same geological structure, i.e. not the same minerals,
it's not
the
Javieron.
And that's the other thing. It could even be that. It might just be that they've, because the thing with these types of deposits is that you often, there's a very important diagram that I ended up in my third presentation sharing, and it basically shows you kind of offshoots to like the main system, these distal veins and this distal alteration. And it's something which I kind of forgot about, but it's become a bit more relevant recently when certainly Goldworm, who posts on LSE, when he talked about the tungsten, when you look at that diagram, and I can't remember what slide it's on, but basically it's kind of it's almost cartoonish type diagram. It's pretty complicated, but if you ignore the detail and you just focus on like the elements that are present, you see like this almost like a zonation where you have your copper and gold, and then as it kind of goes a bit further away from the main intrusion, sometimes you get tin tungsten and things like that. So it's possible that these areas that they've drilled, they're not hitting good gold and copper grades. There's probably maybe it's quite low grade, but then they're getting some of these like sort of other elements in there. But ultimately, I think this company would be focused on the gold and the copper, even if there was a little bit of tungsten in there. Is it going to be enough to make that an economic deposit? That's what the questions they'll be asking themselves are. And I think the reason they'll do another survey is just in case that they can see any extra mag anomalies that they didn't pick up the first time. The more data you get, the better. But I think ultimately, when I think you said it, Stu, that they spent $3 million on this exploration. I think that should give everyone a bit of a sense of how much it costs to drill and how much it costs to do this type of work, which is often why if you don't find anything in your sort of early years of exploration, the share price goes down.
I think it's an important point to mention, Jamie, because I've been here for a while. I've lost 80% of my money after Newmont walked. I was in the company that was do you remember the warrants? That's how these companies survive. It's just warrants after warrants and options after options and fundraise after fundraise, and they stick needles in haystacks. And that's why this company did 37% its value. What we have now is, to me, again, totally unique. You've got this base asset that just keeps giving, that's going to underpin your share price. We're not going to go to 8p. You're not going to lose half your money unless you bought in it before Scally. But if you've got some time, it's totally unique in my mind. You've got this processing plant that no matter what you find out of this huge land mass and land package you have is going to be ready to take your ore. You've got a partner that's going to be ready to JV. It's the perfect situation. You've got a funded exploration, an indefinitely funded exploration program. You couldn't get a better company for the long term.
This is what we mean when we say it's a bit more de-risked, because you have an asset, you have something which ultimately in a couple of years' time is going to be paying you. So you don't have the risks that a lot of these other juniors have, where you don't have anything, and ultimately all your money comes from the market. So when you run out of, let's say you did a raise for 5 million, you run out of that 5 million, and all you've got to show for it is, a few NAF holes and basically some geochemistry. It's not really a lot you can sell to the rest of anyone else to kind of fund you. And like you say, people go out of business then, because you can't fund your activities.
The thing here is, I'll be honest, when I read the PFS, I was disappointed. I thought the market was going to react the way it did. Why? Ask me. I'm absolutely no expert. Everyone knows where my stall is. I'm just an investor. I've been here a long time. I've done a lot of research. I was disappointed by the fact that we seemed to be limited by the 3 megaton capacity. So no matter how brilliant your grades are, if you can only take X amount of trucks, you can only get X amount of revenue. What I wasn't looking at is every morning you wake up, you reinvest in GGP. And that's how you must always see this. Every morning you wake up, you reinvest in the story. You could easily just sell it and have that money out in cash. And I think you've got to look at what will be when we get to production. We're likely to have around $8 to $15 million a month. That is absolutely. Just think about all the drilling that's been done at Jury's cost 3. Just think about back when if you were back in the Newmont days, and the amount of money we had to raise by issuing warrants and options and whatever else. That's an unbelievable. I would invest a lot of money into a company that said, I've got a 10 million free carry cash revenue a month, and the biggest land package one of the biggest land packages in the Patterson region, right next to a underutilized Telfer plant. It's the perfect growth story. Yeah, you've still got to go find things and hit things, but you can afford to miss and miss and miss and miss time after time without your investment halving. That's unique. You can be involved in gold exploration without your principal devaluing to any great extent if you have the time horizon of 3 to 5 to 10 years, which you should have if you're in the space anyway. So I think it's important to mention. You look down the line at second half of 2023. Don't look at what that revenue actually does for an exploration company where we are placed in the jurisdiction and all the things you invested in this company for in the first place. The market will forward value that in pretty short time after results like this. Come on, look at what do you think are, you must agree, Magic, those are next MRE, the grade's going up.
No, it's going up.
I know the size is going up, but the
grade's going up.
I work in insurance, and this is bottom line. When the grade goes up, it goes to the bottom line. It's just a straight increase. It's if you had 4 grams versus 2 grams, it doubles. This is that's very, very important, I think.
Which is just crazy, isn't it? I mean, that's the bottom line. We get to the MRE in maybe as late as February, and you're not going to be you're not going to want to be out of this one.
No.
See, people need to understand you're not going to know when it's going to happen. Look at, they
No.
announced the PFS, it went up 2030, but we know that we can add 250 million to our market cap in a couple of days. So that's a good thing. It's a bit like Bitcoin, and I won't mention that too much, but volatility is good. Without volatility, you cannot go up in the trajectory we're all hoping to go. So you've got to pull yourself out of this and go, as long as I've got a time horizon here, the more volatile we are, the better. I like the fact that we can add 250 million to our market cap in a couple of days. That tells me there's a hell of a lot of liquidity, a hell of a lot of interest. And at some point, when the value becomes obvious to everyone else who isn't as well researched as all of us, who isn't early in the share, we will re-rate, and we have to be there. That's how retail wins. We outweight everyone else. We sit here, we see the value in 18 months when the market's valuing it in 3 months, and we wait. And when the rest of the market comes with their 3-month valuation, we cash out. They are our exit liquidity. Either a buyout is, or they are at that point. So it's such a silly thing to say because a lot of people are down on their share investment. But this is the time the money is made. Just sitting around, the boring times, the averaging in, the buying on good results, and just waiting for this thing to deliver value. That's how you win. Wait them out. Add and wait them out.
And that's something that I've learned late on this year, probably the last couple of months, is actually it doesn't matter. The dailies are now, nothing matters. It doesn't matter, but tomorrow, if it's 19p or 16p, or next week it's the same again, what comes is when it does start moving up.
Yeah, we're pretty much in that range all the time.
There
was, I mean, when the PFS dropped, it was classic, like kind of buy rumor, sell news type thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Because the when it pumped 20, what was it, nearly 30% in one day on that announcement, then the news comes and you read it, and it isn't like, oh look, we've got 10 million ounces. It was, oh, we've got this much, and what they were telling you was like, this is the starting point. But the problem is when you read these reports and you haven't got, unless say you're someone that ultimately is scouring news announcements just in the morning, and you see that.
I've got a theory, and it's the most obvious one, and I think it's right. We're on the AIM market, and people always need to remember that. And the reason I'm in this share is we're involved with the major, so it removes all the risk that the AIM market normally presents to an investor, in my opinion. What it doesn't remove is the herd. It doesn't remove the volatility. And you're 100% right. It wasn't a pump and dump. It was a wall of money. And quite simply, a bunch of people went, hold on, they're announcing this big thing that apparently all those people are waiting for. This is a share that's been on the top of the LSE boards for the whole of 2020 as one of the most profitable. This is a share that's then dropped 50% on a graph for someone who's just looking on that, that day that was announced. Wow, it's 50% less than it used to be. Oh, this is a big news announcement. Oh, it's rising. It's a pure momentum trade.
Yeah, it was.
And when you look at the wall of money on AIM, I mean, even that, it was 80 million in 2 days running. It was a
ridiculous amount of volume.
I mean, that's a lot. I mean, even I was like, wow,
yeah.
is this all traders? And that's kind of what threw me.
I think the other thing was, I think there's a lot of people that probably set, even so, whether these are the traders or not, there would have been people that would have set limit orders above the 20 something p, I think like 21p mark. I don't know where the line is, but they would have all been triggered. So it triggered a lot of selling. There's a lot of overhang there. A lot of that would have gone in that episode.
And I'll be brutally honest, I tried to sell 100,000 shares on open and just sat there and I got no trade. And this is a word of advice to anyone who's maybe a little inexperienced on the group. I can save you money right now, a lot of money. And it's very, very simple. Don't buy or sell within the first 15 minutes after news
it's
on the
just
AIM
mad.
market. That is suicide. It's suicide, because what's going to happen is you're going to get offered the lowest. And I've proved it to myself time and time again. I've gone in with that same emotional reaction. Maybe I just take it, 1% out and see if I can buy them back, just play the game. And I've gone, and literally within that first 15 minutes, sometimes it's within the first minute, sometimes it's 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 minutes in, I have been offered pretty much the lowest point of the day.
Yeah, there's no point trying to do it either if you don't have level
after the
2
PFS,
as well.
it was
if you have
16
if you have
something.
level 2, to be honest, if you've got level 2, you're a trader. Like most people don't have level 2.
I don't have level 2. You know what? When you've just mentioned it, I actually have sat and thought to myself, it's probably about time you got that baby. I hardly even understand it. I mean, I do understand it, but I think it will drag me down the hole of wanting to trade. And I think GGP for me is that I am here in 2020.
I've said it a few times on LSE's board when I have decided to pipe up. I've tried my best to communicate this idea that really, if you're a trader, there are ample opportunities elsewhere that are better than GGP. You've got no thing is, I go on IG sometimes and do a bit of spread betting here and there. And I've looked at the GGP thing. I mean, you have the spread and everything else that's happening on GGP at the moment. It's a bit ridiculous why you'd want to try to trade this.
Yeah,
but people do.
But look, I think it's the news cycles, and I think if you've got someone who's long in the tooth, who's traded for 15 years, and who knows there's a regular news cycle, and who's maybe playing with a big amount of money, you can't ignore with some of the graphs. Costa's posted with the arrows that show the news cycles. You just can't ignore that, and I don't care if it doesn't work this time, and I hope it doesn't. Yes, because I don't think it does. Maybe, but hey, I've been wrong the other 9 times.
We haven't had any real share price movements. I mean, we've kind of gone up a tiny bit.
To me, it's the sector. It's the sector and the stage we're at. Everyone knows where we are. But if I'm parking $1 million at the moment, I'm watching our story. But until the gold money flows back in, and we're not making revenue until the end of next year. So big money isn't going to join now. Why would they? I wouldn't.
I'm mentioning this actually about the whole time it takes to go from exploration to a mine. Yeah. So I was at a conference 2 years ago, not 2 years ago, a conference like 2 weeks ago. And
average is 10 years, isn't it? Or
well,
10
it's even
15
more
years?
than that. I think in one presentation, this person suggested, and this was a quote from someone at a very well-known and big conference in Canada called PDAC.
Yeah.
It's massive. It's got like 40,000 plus attendees, all in economic geology industry. And then someone gave like a keynote there, and they, I don't know what the start point was, but I think it was something around like when you make a discovery to actually getting it into production and producing. I think the average since like the early 20th century is something stupid like 28 years.
Wow.
I mean, the 10 years thing might be a more recent phenomenon because of technology.
No. That was me guessing. That was totally me guessing. Because I actually remember seeing on a slide. I remember seeing on a slide 20 years. I remember seeing on a slide 20 years.
I have the slide.
Probably not.
I'll find it and I'll put this up. I'll put this up on LSE because I think it's important. It's good information, because what we're achieving here is almost historic, really.
Well, I think what people don't realize is what are we achieving here? Because you've got to put that into context. What we're achieving is free cash flow and revenue like you've never seen before.
Within 6 years, if you think about it.
This is getting a #1 record and owning 100% of it and it going fucking viral. That it takes a long way to get there, but when you get there, it's what does that sort of free cash flow, even at a depressed gold price, and we all, I'm assuming, think that it's going up in the next 3 years. That's the key here, and that's why I think the big money is not here. They don't need to be here yet.
Not yet.
No. There's other opportunities. We're still I think very risked. I was sitting the other day and just looking around and looking at the PFS and just looking at it as a new investor, but pretending I had the experience I have right now and thinking, would I sit here and would I jump in, and with how much money would I jump in? And do you know what my thought process was? It was, we've only got 2 megatons in the starter mine. We're hoping for 3. But there's a risk it might be 2. So there's your sort of first one. There's only so much they can pull out until they do a second decline, either conveyor or vehicle or what have you. So there's your second bit. Are we going to get to the end of next year without a parallel PFS for a block cave? And all the deductions I make, and I want to always be honest with our audience, with the chat. That's always been our modus operandi, try and educate people. Not a lot excited me, because the fact is, the only reason I'm excited is because I know so much about GGP and this deposit, and I believe there will be a block cave in place here, and that is where I believe the money will be made here.
Yeah.
The Southeast Crescent Zone, if it turns out the block cave is uneconomical, I think we're worth 8 to 15p. We have to have a block cave, and I'm able to see that 12, 18 months in advance, and see that you just can't, this is just growing and growing and growing, and see that is worth 40, 50, 60, 70p.
I think you have to remember that pre-feasibility study was literally assuming, right, if you ignore everything else, imagine if we just did just the Crescent, and
we still have a viable mine.
Yeah, and that is only the top. I mean, you've got to think like the Crescent, that didn't include the Crescent Deeps, the extensions that we're getting now. This is the stuff that's for
Newcrest, it's wonderful. It's the absolute perfect thing for Newcrest with Telfer. We all know that, so it's great for them. But just think about it for us. Again, if you were Mr. Hiddle or you were Mr. SD and you started a company and you wanted to find the perfect deposit, you'd want to find a fully commercial, economical deposit that had all this exploration potential for a block cave, massive, huge operation, and you'd want this little high-grade pod to fund it all.
Yeah, because that's what it's doing.
And you'd want a partner to finance it all, and want and need to do it as quickly as possible. I mean, come on, you cannot make this up. You cannot make this up.
The rest of the northern breccia, eastern breccia, all of that comes into it eventually. Ultimately, when you make the mine for the Crescent, so much of your your capex, is already been spent. So a lot of that you then get out, most of that's going to convert into pure profit. Like, it's not going to be your margins for the sulfide zone is probably going to be, if you take the capex into account, let's just say it's going to be, and it's probably even hinted at this in the PFS. I can't remember the stats off, but it will be in the feasibility study for next year. That's going to include a lot more, of the infill that we're doing, blah blah blah. I think everybody knows that.
Yeah.
But if you assume then that, let's say 20% is profit, well, you can triple that for the breccias, because you've already built the shafts, you've already built all of the roads and the infrastructure around on site. That's the thing that then takes this from being something like you say, like the banks go, oh, that's interesting, but we'll wait a little bit, to going, right, where do I sign? Because
we've got a viable mine already, which is making GGP the second.
I think the banks know about
cost.
us. I think they're just biding their time. They're thinking, right, well, we don't have to put money up front now, because the production's 2 years away, and we've got a feasibility study that's guaranteed for us. Well, we can just sit on it. We can sit on this for a bit. We won't forget about it, but we'll sit on this for a bit. And you don't know what gold price is going to be doing next year. If you think, well, we've already had we've had the budget today that suggests that inflation is going to be, I think something like 4%, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, because rent in our houses went up around 4% last year.
Yeah, and so
they don't record that.
I think there's been a lot of. I mean, the most recent crash we've had in the market was all about stagflation. Yeah, and it's almost like
which is here to stay. I think for a little while longer. You've got to look at the economics of it. You've got a shrinking economy. You've got supply chain issues that Yeah, I agree. I think stagflation. I just think
when you bring that into the picture and you think, right, what's gold price going to do? Now, if you knew the answer to that, you'd be the richest man on the planet. But if you play probabilities here, in an inflationary environment, gold should do very well.
What's lovely though is we've got an all-in sustaining cost of what,
600 and
680,
something,
whatever it is.
yeah.
Okay, that obviously increases if the gold price drops. So take 300 down, put 300 up, you're still at 900, and you've got a gold price of 1500. You're still good.
Gold though. I think I think a lot of people will move into it, because I don't think people. I think honestly, this year, this is my own sort of like opinion on the market. This is not fact.
No, but we want to hear it.
I think the way it's going to play out is I think we're going to get a nice run into Christmas / New Year. But I really think 2022 is going to be a bad year. I think inflationary concerns will hit peak fever, and I think you're going to see a small bear. I really think a bear market.
Interest rate rises potentially.
In bear markets, gold is good. Gold, I think the three things people I'm seeing, at least on the online forums and everything, like people I speak to, it's gold, it's crypto, and it's banks.
Well, I think what people need to understand, and I guess I pissed a few people off, and I probably owe Michael an apology for getting a bit antsy with him on the chat. But of course, crypto is also close to my heart. GGP first, then Bitcoin second. But I think what people need to understand in the macro of Bitcoin, and rather do it on the chat here than in the group, is what gold doesn't have is it doesn't have a crypto winter, not anywhere near the extent.
No.
And I think people need to understand how much outflows have happened. And you have a 5,000 year strong trust system in gold, and that just doesn't disappear. It's ingrained in culture. It's ingrained in all, and you can do all the volatility. I've been in it 7 years, and I've still got a little fearful when things have got bad, and a little overexcited when we breached 2000. But forget about all of that. Just look at the inflows to cryptocurrency. And don't get me wrong, I'm 100% I believe in Bitcoin. I think it'll be 1 million in 5 to 10 years time. I think anyone not involved in Bitcoin is mad. Buy a little bit each month. There we go. I said my piece. But it will go into a crypto winter next year. And I think it will go down to $20,000 or $30,000 a Bitcoin. And that will wipe out 2/3, half of its market cap. There is only one place that money's going. And I think everybody needs to be very conscious about that. Bitcoin's great for us. It's literally giving us cheap prices. It's suppressing the gold narrative. It's suppressing, therefore, the gold price by proxy. And ultimately, all of that money is looking for the old traditional safe haven. When you've had an asset for 10 years that ultimately will be proven in 20 and 30 years, but isn't yet, when you've got a lot of new investors, anyone who's been in crypto is new pretty much. When the shit drops 30 or 40%, people sell out. Then they move back to the shiny stuff that's been around for 5,000 years. And don't ignore that, because I agree with you, Magic. I think there's going to be Jamie, I think there's going to be a tough year ahead next year as the reality dawns on what's actually happened and globally, and whether or not the Fed or whether or not the BOE are going to try climb out the hole by raising interest rates and causing a massive recession. And I think the answer is no. I think it's got to be a great reset. It's got to be some sort of change. Any way you look down the barrel of this gun is good for gold in the long term. And that's it. It's so we've built such a nice community on originally LSE, now on the chat, on the live streams. I genuinely think if we're still talking about this in 5 or 10 years time, it'll be with a background of a beautiful ocean. But I'm worried about the fact that it might be
not a fake one.
It might also be with the background of an imploding world. That's always the moral difficulty you have investing in gold. Gold is insurance. Gold is insurance for the apocalypse. And here's me hoping for great gold drill results. It's all a bit strange, but all you've got to do is position yourself in life for what you see, coming up in the future. And I think it's going to be a tough year next year. I totally agree. And look, I think we've all got to realize what could happen with GGP here too. I personally, if you ask me my brutally honest opinion, and I don't like to say it, but I'll say it, I think we will see 16p again before December. MRE, even after these results. Sorry to say. I love it, Liam. Brilliant.
I can go scuba diving. Oh dear.
Brilliant.
Oh,
And
that's...
I of course I hope I'm wrong, and of course we're all a bit cynical. We've all been through the crazy. Anything's possible, and that's why it's important to average in to GGP like you'd average into crypto. It's any volatile asset. The only way to play a volatile asset or a volatile market for that matter, i.e. AIM, where we are, is to buy a little bit each month with your salary. Don't ever bet the farm in one go. Don't put your inheritance on it in one go, no matter what you think. And also I've now learned, and it's something I've learned only recently, if I'm honest, keep 10% out in cash. It allows you to, it removes a lot of emotion by having 10% in cash, which I do. No, I've got about 5% at the moment. But if God forbid something happens in the next 2 weeks and we go back down to 16p, I can buy some shares. It's great. I can buy those shares. And if they go back up to 18.5p, I'm not going to want to sell them because it's going to be good news. And there's going to be a reason why we're at 18.5p. And I'm going to think we're worth 25p, but I'm going to reluctantly sell that 10% again. And I think that's important advice. Not advice, not investment advice. None of this can be construed as investment advice.
Yeah, classic.
Can I just change the subject for a second? We missed an important point when we glazed over the first report that we dismissed when it came out. The development of the exploration decline continued during the period, with 211 meters now complete as of 20th of October 2021.
Oh, yes.
Planning has commenced on the first ventilation shaft, which is scheduled to begin in the next quarter. Works to progress the necessary approvals and permits are required to commence the development of the operating underground mine associated with the project are ongoing. Now, coming back
That's a big
to
increase,
point,
guys. What was it? 128. It was 128 last time, wasn't it?
Yeah. So JC says 120 meters in 4 months, and then 91 meters in 1 month. So that sounds like we're potentially through the soft stuff, and they're starting to get into the harder ground. And
all the infrastructure's been built, and the trucks have been increased, and the staff has been increased. Whatever it is, we're speeding up. And if this went to 25p over the next few weeks, you'd all be sitting going, Christ, why didn't I take advantage of 15 to 17p? And if it goes back down to 15p in the next 3 months, we're all going to say, we knew there wasn't that much news. It's all about the
this is where it comes apart though, Stu, because if this goes to 25p, I'm going to be like, why the hell did I listen to Stu and keep 10% as cash?
No, you would have sold 10% in cash at 25p.
But if it goes to 15p,
properly, sell it at 25p, not now.
No, I'm buying at 25. If this goes to 25, I'm buying. So it'll come back down. But then you see, if it goes back down to 15p, I'm like, why the hell didn't I have 10% cash? Why don't I listen to Stu? I'm never going to win. Never going to win.
No, the way you win is you remove emotion. And you sell days that are on the AIM market. I mean, I'm not following my own advice here, but trust me, all my friends will tell you, do what I say, not what I do. It's simple. Sell a green day, buy a red day. It's the same for cryptocurrency. It's the same for any stock market. If you find a good company, a good asset, a good management, just buy it when it's red. It really is that simple. If you have money, wait until it's a red day, because we've all seen the sine wave of every single share graph in the history of share graphs. Just buy it when it's red day. At least 50% of the time that would have been a good move. Unless it dumps and there's a lot more red. unless it dumps and there's a lot more. It's like Will Ferrell says, I'm right. I'm right 80% of the time. In old school.
There's a few comments going on, Stu, that you have smashed the red wine this evening, and they are congratulating you on said smashing of said red wine.
Good. I mean,
I was going to say
it's been fantastic results, and I'm all in. So clearly, I'm pretty excited.
Absolutely. Go on, Magic. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say. So, I was going to head off in a little bit, but before
let's bring it back.
I wanted to sort of summarize, first of all, how great these drill results are. These numbers I put in the chat when I was watching, stupid. They are unreal.
Oh yeah.
Now, I think it's in November. There is a conference. I don't know if this has been posted.
Yes, we have post. Newcrest are going, aren't they, with their geologists?
I'm aiming to attend that.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm aiming to stay up very late on the Wednesday. I think it is. No, it's because it covers 2 days, but there's the main talks are on the Wednesday.
What camera equipment do you need?
Following that, I'm not going to be there in person. I'll be there virtually, obviously. But,
right.
The goal will be, I'll take as many notes as I can from that.
Could we see a new magic video?
This is what I was going to say, because I think following that and providing my PhD's, under control.
Yeah.
And I don't know when it will be, but I think before the New Year's out for sure. I think I'm going to do one, because I almost want to do one honouring the year we've had. So, like after Christmas, just do a video basically summarising the progress. I was definitely going to do one like that. But,
Nice.
I might see if I can do one even before that, sort of basically kind of covering the updated geology or the views, because there's a lot of new stuff that's come out. And while some of it is very speculative, it is worth talking about, because especially I think since it's really a lot of this is spawned, the idea is spawned out of the Eastern Breccia chats that I've been seeing a little bit of, and a lot of the rumors that have been going around about what's been hit at depth. There's been a lot of very interesting stuff I've heard.
What's your thoughts on what's been hit at depth? Does nickel play any part in your geological interpretation?
Wild. Nickel would be wild.
In what way? In what way? So it's associated. It shouldn't make it right.
It doesn't make sense.
So it kind of breaks the model, and
it does, and
makes
nickel,
it a bit too unique or different.
When you get nickel, most nickel deposits, if they're not a nickel laterite, which is a weathering profile, they're associated with magmatic rocks. And when I say that, I mean more like ultramafics, which are these really, it's like, think basalt, but like even kind of higher temperatures than that. So it's nothing like the rocks that we've got here. Right. So, most nickel deposits, they're kind of found with those. And so if we found nickel, I mean, there are a couple of...
excuse my ignorance, but do you know if nickel deposits are traditionally deep or shallow?
Yeah,
or is that a stupid...
That's a good question.
No, it's a good question, because so I think normally, the model I know, it's a completely different process to how this deposit forms.
Yeah.
But some of them are normally, the depth thing is quite a good question to ask, because normally I think nickel tends to be found a little bit deeper down.
Right.
Tends to. So, but I think the nickel would be.
Oops.
It throws up a lot of questions, because at that point you have to try and work out, why is nickel there?
Yeah.
What
because that changes the narrative over how this all happened, right?
Well, yeah, I think at that point I think just the presence of nickel alone in any sort of meaningful abundance would confirm, even without any extra evidence whatsoever, that you've got multiple mineralizing periods here.
Yeah.
If that was there. The tin tungsten stuff, or more to tungsten, I don't think it was tin tungsten, but just tungsten, bismuth, etc. That makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense for this model.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the model which is being proposed at this point, because there's so many unknowns in this area.
Am I right in saying this was created by the sort of, excuse my ignorance here again, the tectonic shelf is the best way I can explain it. Could it be that you've got Havarian at the top, that it was the Earth's crust hitting the other side of things, where you've got two totally different rock structures in geology?
I have no idea where the suture zone is, but there's this. I think the thing which. So the one thing I'm going to rule out straight away, and again, I think this is fine to be quite concrete on, because I did see a lot of discussion about porphyry.
Right.
It's not porphyry.
No.
It's not porphyry. So the best thing to do with porphyry is there's a lot of characteristics in a porphyry, or comparisons you can make, because porphyry copper deposits are probably the most well understood of all of the mineral deposit systems. They've been studied to death.
Right.
We know so much about them. And I would say, when we talk about alteration, the alteration zones are the most well defined in porphyry. So quite often other mineral deposit sort of models borrow from that, and
Right.
it's kind of
because it's so well researched. So they sort of go, hey, here's a starting point.
We can say this is sericitic alteration. Normally that's a phrase that's used for porphyry and even for another type of deposit called a VMS. So look, we have these models, and look, we like to pigeonhole stuff, but quite honestly, every ore deposit sits on a spectrum. So there's probably some porphyry characteristics, but the actual thing that I say that makes porphyry, for me, discounts porphyry, is the fact that to make a porphyry, you need a subduction zone. Right. And I don't think there's any evidence of subduction at all in the Patterson origin. I think the origin, this is an origin that is a pure mountain building episode. So this is collisional tectonics, probably two continental.
That's what I was looking for. Collisional tectonics. That's the word.
Yeah, this is what that means.
That's what that meant. That's what that meant. Collisional tectonics.
This is the reading I've done. So I don't think this is porphyry. The characteristics don't line up. We don't have the. I really don't think the rock types are right either. I mean, the thing that that's been bandied about a little bit. The two ideas I have. Assuming it's nickel, that's down there. Let's assume it's nickel. There's two ideas I've got.
So run with that.
Yeah. That could make it possible, and they're both wild. Well, one's less wild than the other.
Can I give you my little 2p before you go in with your more observed? Well, is it possible that you've had a zone? I'll go with Stu's analogy that had a nickel deposit on it. And then the other ones come along, I mean, obviously not quite as quick as this, and had that event, and that's why you've got what you've got, because
I think this is one idea anyway. Like, you kind of you're putting one mineral deposit next to the other. I think the problem with this model is, the Eastern Breccia is right next to the Javier system, right? Yeah. That spatial association.
It's another needle in a haystack.
It's too close. If you was to try and sandwich two land masses together and to put these two next to each other like this,
it's over 100 kilometers, isn't it? It's
very difficult.
It's not over
to do that.
2 kilometers.
I think it's too close.
Yeah.
But I think the idea where you've got two different mineral deposit types together is possible. I think this is the idea, which I think you're on the right lines with a little bit.
Do we have precedent? Do we have precedent for that, in your knowledge, that where we have two separate
do some homework on this, because I reckon there is a couple of examples where you've basically had. Well, we know about, so it isn't that uncommon where you have overprinting. So you have basically, but normally that's within like the same deposit type.
Zonal,
right? So,
yeah.
And I definitely think Havron's got that. Like, I've seen some of the core, from the what they've shared, and in that I think there's evidence for multiple phases of mineralization. But in terms of two different deposit types, I think the way this would work is if, at depth, you've got a different mineral deposit system. Now, the mineral deposit type that I'm familiar with that hosts nickel is called a nickel. It's just known as magmatic sulfide. Mm-hmm. So down at those depths, what we want to be seeing in the holes, if you kept drilling, you'd want to be starting to intersect those ultramafic rocks, because they typically are the source rocks. So you have them at depth, and then basically a younger event, i.e. the intrusion-related gold event, is utilizing the pre-existing faults that will be down there and weakness to essentially create a mineral system above it. That's one idea. It's a bit wild. There's not a lot of proof for it, but it's one way I think you could do it. The other way you could do it, and this is the one I kind of favor just because it's easier in my head. Now, I mentioned about like there being different rocks at depth. Now, in my own studies, where I study in Zambia, we have basically sediment-hosted copper that overlies a basement, and this basement, is really old. It's 2 billion years old, but the rocks that lie above it are 800 million year old sediments. So that's a 1.2 billion year gap.
Wow, how does that happen?
So
that's some major spontaneous event.
It's what we call non-conformity. It basically, there's a massive erosional time gap between the basement and the sediments. Now, it's a similar case in
interesting.
It's a very similar case in this basin. So we're in the Yanina supergroup. According to the descriptions in the appendix, it can be 9 kilometers thick, the Yanina supergroup.
9 kilometers. What is it? Is that lateral, vertical?
I think that means vertical.
Wow.
But here's the thing.
9 kilometers.
It's not going to be 9 kilometers thick everywhere.
No. Okay, no so way. It's undulating.
Yeah. And that will depend upon the original basin architecture. This is the exact same thing that happens in Zambia. So Zambia, you can get 11, the main like package of rocks, the sort of sediments that overlie the basement can be 11 kilometers thick. But in Zambia, where you've got basically, well, it's much thinner. It's like a kilometer thick. And basically what's happened is you've got these normal faults, doing this. So you bring up the basement, and obviously basically the sediments are thinner on top of that, so you're quite close to the basement. And in Zambia, one of the source rocks that's kind of talked about a little bit is the basement itself. So we have the Rudal. The Rudal basement is a series of metamorphosed basalts. Now, in my opinion, and again without knowing kind of the geochem, these rocks would possibly be a source of nickel. So it's possible then either it
does tie into the underlying basement, doesn't it?
Exactly. You could be hitting basement, or even it's possible if you've got, because we don't actually know if the fluids themselves, the hydrothermal fluids, are from the granites. I thought they were, but in this model you would have fluids probably sourced within the sediments that overlie the basement. And under just basically, if you generate enough basin circulation, you can scavenge metals from the basement, bring them up. And I wondered if there's a model there where you're basically taking nickel out of the basement and then placing it in the Eastern breccia. And then later on, through the intrusion-related process, I mean, the Eastern breccia there, we don't know what the age of the brecciation is, but that area, I think Bamps is
it's deep, isn't it?
Correct.
It is deep, isn't it?
It is deep, and I think Bamps talks about this idea that those eastern breccias feed the main breccia. Well, I think what you've got there is potentially a fluid flow, a pathway.
Yeah,
where that's where the fluids are coming from.
And this is all coming from depth, right? Which is why we see the higher grades at depth. And
yeah, exactly. And there's a zonation here. You can see it in the grades. You look at the gold. The gold's increasing at depth.
Copper's decreasing, isn't it?
Copper's decreasing for the most part. There is a few anomalies, but you got this.
Which again is the perfect deposit. You have that hedge at the top copper. When you're in. Yeah.
And I don't know. Look, we don't know the nickel's there. They haven't reported it again. Blah 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 blah. This is all hearsay. But
if they did, hypothetically, if they did, could you mine it?
I mean, I don't know.
Can you stope nickel? Is it worth it? Is it economic at that depth? Can you stope?
Stu just wants to block cave the whole damn thing.
I don't know.
Just drop a nuclear bomb on it.
The grades are for a nickel deposit.
Because I know I'm going to be here for 4 or 5 years. For me, there's a big difference in this mine. Is that I think it'll be one of the most technologically advanced mines that have ever been on this planet.
I've never seen an undercover deposit like this.
Yeah.
I really think this will be in textbooks for.
I think so too.
Basically, undercover discoveries.
And that's and we all know that is the trend. We've exhausted. Someone's going to get lucky with the open pit somewhere in Ecuador. In Ecuador, where the government steals it. Someone's going to get that. But this is the future, isn't it? And we potentially have the flagship. All the technology, all the advanced technological, that Newcrest can throw to the leader in this, they're going to throw.
Yeah, there isn't anyone better.
If you can afford to just sit this out, and I mean like 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, with regards to the nickel and the tungsten, I mean, I've already said it on one of the threads, although he hasn't replied. I would like to chat to Goldworth because. He's got his ideas about the tungsten. He's also got apparently 40 years experience in economic geology. I mean,
wow. Well, let's call him out on LSE and let's get him on. Let's get him on the next results.
I want to just chat theory because ultimately,
Let's
we
get you.
can't prove any of this.
Let's
because
make
we're
an
not the
effort to
ones
get you
doing
guys
anything.
together at least. Yeah.
Yeah, if Goldworm, if you're watching, reach out to me and I will sit down and hold a round table with you and Magic.
Because it's just
I won't
so
say a word.
interesting that like I'm of the belief that the Eastern Breccia is different to the main Breccia.
It sounds like it.
And potentially a feeder source.
Yeah, and to me it has to be older. Being at that depth, it has to be older than the and so that lends what time.
And is that just generally logic plays out?
Yes.
The deeper it is, the older it is. It'll undulate a little bit, but
when you get faults, especially when you're getting faulting, like you can put younger stuff above older stuff. Sorry, older stuff above younger stuff. But I don't think that's what's happening here. I think generally speaking, the eastern at depth is older than the northern and the southeast crescent. That's how
could I ask a quick question, Magic? Because it's one thing, all my research, everything, I still haven't grasped or understood. This dike that Bottle's showing right now, this big green dike. Yeah. What the fuck is it?
I forgot you guys are still watching me.
Yeah, so the dolerite dike it's a late stage post mineralization intrusion. This is what happens when you get new magma that decides it wants to make its way through the layers of the earth.
So this is magma. It's kind of destroying everything in its path, and it's heading for the surface, and that's why it's kind of defunct. That's why it doesn't have mineralization.
Exactly. I mean, I think the only way I think sometimes these things are mineralized is just in this case it doesn't look like it. But ultimately,
well, it's weird because we do definitely have a few of the drills going into it, don't we? But I was interested in Bamp's comments around
look at
wastage.
These two.
Yeah, I mean they go straight through it, don't they? Well,
it's really hard as well. The dolerite. It's not. In the mine plan, there it looks like they're using this almost as the way down because it's so stable.
Right.
I think that's the way it's working, but it's going to take a lot of fucking drilling to get through because it's bloody hard stuff. Okay. Yeah, if you Google what dolerite is,
that's great. I should have done exactly that, shouldn't I? But it's sometimes the most simple things in front of your face. Don't stick it. But I've so often wondered why is it
intermediate composition. It's like when you look. So there's a really on Google Images, it's worth anyone who's just interested in geology and just wants to know the basics about igneous rocks. It's worth just sort of having this table. Is basically you characterize rocks sort of based on silica composition.
Yeah.
SiO2, and there's 4 divisions. You've kind of got basalt, basaltic andesite, andesite, rhyolite as the sort of, mini, the lowest down. And then when you get into coarser grained rocks, you're getting sort of gabbro, then you're getting like your dolerites, then you're getting granite at the end.
Yeah.
And that's like the basic level. You can definitely go further and start to subcategorize these rocks, and they mean different things. That's for the academics, honestly.
Yeah.
For the layman and for everyone else, for everyone here's purposes, there's
some diorite. There's some diorite on your.
Diorite's basically the coarser grained equivalent of andesite.
I mean, it looks like granite to a total layman like myself.
Oh yeah, don't believe the stonemasons when they tell you everything's granite because it bloody well isn't. It's a pet hate of geologists, believe me. But yeah, essentially, I can probably share the table in the chat, like the.
Well, I'm not doing a good job of finding it. Maybe it's just
these are pictures. I'll find it at some point.
Oh, there we go. That's quite a good graph, isn't it?
Yeah, felsic. That's so sometimes when I say mafic, intermediate felsic, this is kind of what I'm talking about. It's basically a way of which you can describe rocks by the silica content. So felsic is mafic is kind of magnesium iron rich, and then felsic is basically the opposite. So you don't get much magnesium in these rocks at all. And these are much lower in temperature. The mafic ones are much higher in temperature. So the stuff that's pouring out of La Palma at the moment is all basaltic.
Right.
Whereas if you explode a volcano, it's more like andesite, granitic type magmas.
I found it interesting, and they didn't really talk about it much, that the massive earthquake in Melbourne a few weeks ago, when you actually go from one side of the earth to the other, La Palma is on the opposite side of the world to
Oh, that's
Melbourne.
cool.
Oh wow, is it really?
Yeah, so
Is that coincidence, or is
No,
this
well,
is this
I
a
think it's a coincidence.
yeah?
I
ah,
mean,
It
it's
can't
quite
be like
funny.
just a magnetic pull from each side of the earth, surely.
Yeah, I think ultimately, like, yeah, I think at depth we clearly don't understand what's down there, and I think if you've got some of those mafic rocks, nickel definitely likes that. When you got the more of the felsic rocks, if there's granites down there, then the tin tungsten probably is the way to go. So that kind of is that. I mean, I think they need the PhD who's going to be involved in Havron. He's going to have, or
Well,
he or she is going to have a stupid amount of work.
This is an interesting point because you're involved in a PhD, so
Yeah.
you give us some context around this. In what circumstances do Newcrest put out a Interpol request?
So they put out. So unfortunately, with this one, because of the COVID regulations, it was only open to Aussie nationals,
Right.
people that are in Australia at the moment. So that'll be who gets it.
Yeah.
Then, so the first like few months, if it's run like the UK PhDs, they will do a literature review, which will basically be my presentations, to be completely honest. And that's not being arrogant. It's just I've already done the work for them, basically.
Yeah, there's not much else you can get from it. It is
Not
always
really,
those rocks. Yeah.
I mean, unless they'll use some company reports that Newcrest and GGP have that they'll provide for them. That won't be in the public domain, I guess. So the thing, we won't hear about some of this stuff that comes out of the PhD for a good while, because there will be a conflict of interest, shall we say. Yeah. So they won't let them release. The thing is that you will get little tidbits, though, because they'll have to do presentations as part of their PhD. They're going to have to go to conferences. So they will talk about the work, but they won't have it in publishable format.
Yeah.
For like a good while, I think. But either way. Now, I've chatted with.
It bodes well, doesn't it? They're not going to search out someone to do an entire research study like this.
No, they're going to basically because I spoke with the guy who is the supervisor.
Yeah.
Because we were at the same conference. So, and he basically said that the student will be getting pretty much access to virtually all of the core, the database of assays, but they're doing spectral geology, so they've got these core loggers out there which basically scan the entire drill core and they can map the alteration. They're going to have all of that data, and they said that one of the first things they're going to do, PhD, is basically sort of clean that spectral geology data up and link it to things, because at the moment it's kind of just data and it's not really doing much.
Yeah.
The other thing they're going to do, by the looks of it, is
link it to geological events.
As in, like, I think they haven't. The database isn't exactly the most user friendly, I don't think.
Right.
As in, like,
so they've just been collecting it, but they haven't collated
it. Data. They haven't analysed it yet. So
yeah.
I think the first task of the PhD will be analysing and interpreting and probably organising that spectral geology data set. Then the second thing they want to do is fluid inclusions. So and that's mainly because I think in this region, even at Telfer, there's still this debate, like, how much do the granites get involved in the process? And the best way to test that is if you look at the fluid inclusions and you look at the chemistry, do we see any basically carbon dioxide, methane type signatures in there, or even the actual bubbles? If you're seeing that, then magmatic processes have probably happened. So you can say, okay, well, the granites are getting involved, they're not there, and you're getting like really high salinities, etc., then it's likely the fluids are probably just from the surrounding basement and sediments. So there's a question there to be answered. So that's the other thing. And then I think the third thing, they're probably going to do some mineral chemistry. So they're probably going to look at the sulfides and actually look at the trace elements, and that can tell you a little bit about like the hydrothermal processes. So it's all useful information.
Yeah.
But and that's going to take 4 years just on that. I mean, this is not going to be one PhD. This project, this prospect, this is going to be.
It's a Telfer, isn't it? It's a Telfer. It's a Telfer. It's going to keep giving. If you can hold out,
you're going to get so many papers out of this, I think. So yeah, it's exciting. And
last question, because you said you wanted to go half an hour ago, and you've been amazing with giving us all of this information.
We've been on air for 2.5 hours as well, so we should consider.
Thanks so much for joining us. But
absolutely, 100%.
Last question from me. If it does keep plunging to the center of the earth, can we follow it? Can we follow it? Can we just chase it? I mean, being a South African, I know there's some pretty damn deep mines, but then I also know that there's some pretty poor labor practices.
Yeah, so, I think there's going to be a limit. I don't know when that limit's going to be.
I just hope it goes from what's it now at, from 15 gram a ton, 12 gram a ton to 30 gram a ton, whilst we can still mine it.
It's clear that they haven't found. When's the gold going to stop? I don't know.
Where are these true depths though? Because as a layman to myself, I of course I can't factor in. I can't factor in the angle of these bloody drills. Yeah, I see 1,800 meters. I think 1,800 meters. If you're drilling that at 30 degrees, I realize that that's only 600 meters. So that's kind of where
angle they're drilling these at. I think it's.
Is it a consistent angle?
Is it degrees?
So it is a consistent angle. It's 60 degrees and consistently.
Yeah, because you want to hit it.
Which makes sense. You've got to get that mean, don't you? You can't go 60, 65, 61.
You've got to hit it at multiple angles and preferably perpendicular, because then because if you're not hitting it perpendicular, you're not seeing it in 3D.
You're correct.
When you see there's because the problem is this is the issue when you. An easy way to spot like a pump and dump or a share that's just being rammed up is like, if you look at the drill results and it's quite clear they've drilled down dip, then the grades mean nothing. Like, you're just drilling along the vein. That's all you're doing. You're not seeing any 3D extent. You're not seeing the broad picture, the spatial extent, and if any of that information that is critical to building an ore deposit model. So.
I mean, we saw that tonight, didn't we, Bottle? We saw that on the report. It was what, 1.1 gram over 100 meters, and then they did a wedge, and it was our best hole. It was the 120 at 10. So that's got to say it's the same hole, and yet you've got 1.1, and then you've got
that hole was the 117 that had wedge.
Was I right in my interpretation there? Because you went on
wedge 2, 3, 4, blah blah blah. When you look at the relative, because it tells you the total depth they've drilled. It doesn't tell you where from or to, but you have to assume in that situation. Because the thing is, when you look at the numbers in that hole, when you get the ones that are actually mineralized and they've got assay results, the depth goes down, as in like you're going from 700 to 800 to 900 meters.
Yeah.
And the numbers that they've got for like the total length is much bigger than the ones that have been basically not drilled anywhere near. 547, 574. That suggests that they've just tried. I think they were just looking to see if there's anything shallower, and they didn't get anything. So okay, well, that's kind of what I think. Or they. But then I would have thought they would have said this, but sometimes a drill just doesn't go right, so you do another one and it doesn't go right, so you put it out. But no, I think they just.
Do you understand what a wedge is? Because I feel. I'll be honest. I feel a little embarrassed. I've been here 5 years. I don't really understand a wedge. I'm assuming you go down a hole and you drill at a different angle. You've gone down that way and you 30 degrees horizontally and you go the other way from the same hole.
I don't actually.
That's a question for BAMS, I know.
I need to learn more about like just mining engineering, I guess.
Well, I'm really interested because you give us what you give us, which is amazing.
I know a little bit about metallurgy, but like those two areas specifically, I just want to get better at, because it just means that you can. I don't know, just having a whole picture, general knowledge of just the mining process is a good thing. I know tons about the actual inner workings of the system, but not so much how to get it out.
But that's what's so great about the community. You've got BAMS visualizing the mining structure for us. You've got you visualizing the geology for us. You've got Paddy doing all of he does. It's fantastic.
Liam, I think, doing his bringing all of the content for the viewers.
Absolutely, and managing that goddamn chat, which does get intense every now and then.
My life must be so much easier than the moderators over at LSE. I have it easy.
Oh, goodness me. You know what? I've always maintained it. It's an absolute shame. I popped on just to say, congrats to everybody the other day. And it was a bit sad. I had something like 1,800 posts since August 2017. And all of my pie chart was GGP, no other share.
Good lad.
And yet I think I've had 2 in the last like 6 months. And unfortunately, having been on there, I saw Fun on the chat today, Matty Boy, a few other the long-term holders are always there. It's usually the Stag gang that are sort of carrying the flag. But wow, man, the Colin ones and all those people of this world, when you've been doing this for 5 years and you've read the board for 5 years and you've seen it for 5 years, you can filter them all. But thank God we found Telegram where we can share it. It's our own little community. We can share
Luckily,
pictures.
I
We
have
can
never
share
been
links.
the target of any trolls or anything like that, which is real nice.
I dare someone to argue with you, Magic.
Well, that's the
Dare
thing.
them.
I think there was. Do you know what's funny? Actually, I say that the very first post I did about, I think actually,
Did someone jump on you?
early on when I put the presentation, that there was one person, I don't remember his name, but I remember just the reply I put. I don't know why. I was in the zone.
Did you own him? Did you own him?
Yeah. I
Yes,
proper owned him.
please. Yes, please.
I own him, and he's actually never really been back. I think it was. It was Arnie. I think it was Arnie BB.
His pie chart
worst.
is just a one post GGP.
It could be, and you basically got I don't know. I just was sort of there
well, I think Arnie turned out to be, was it hat trick or hat or
yeah.
something like
I think either way, I basically very eloquently just shut him down, and I don't mean to be arrogant, but I was in the zone that day.
Mate, you're doing a PhD in geology. You don't need to be arrogant. You know your shit. It's that simple.
But then since then, no one's really been an issue, which is nice. But I have found, I know some people get targeted and it's rough. It sucks.
Oh yeah, I think Hydra gets a very rough ride because I think Bottle put it very well earlier. He said, I think you're the most excited guy I've met before results, and I'm bouncing off the walls, and Hydro's that. But has a bit of your understanding. So of course the dude's going to be me, but with your understanding.
I'll say about the LSE, and look, I think they have a tough job moderating. I think I wouldn't like to be in their position. One thing I will give them stick for this. Their webinars are shocking,
awful. It's just we all sit here and we think, give it to Bottle. Just give it to him.
Honestly,
give it to someone who at least knows what company they're talking about, has read an RNS.
Investor Meet Company is much better.
It's so good, isn't it?
Yes,
brilliant.
very professional.
I agree.
The webinars
Designed
from that guy at LSE, it drives me up the bend. It honestly really does.
I might have.
To be fair, I'm not a fan of the proactive lady either. Andrew Scott did me fine. The proactive lady had a few where I just cringed my way through.
Katie isn't her name? Isn't
she started off poorly. She's improved a little.
Danica, if you're watching, make notes.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, if you're going to interview a representative of the company, it's a prerequisite for the interviewer to have a little bit of a knowledge.
No,
and let's be honest, how many interviews do LSE do? It's not like they do 30 a day.
They don't do a lot.
Come on, man. I'll go do that job in a heartbeat. Yeah, we're not watching. There's not a banner every day for an interview. You can read an RNS before you ask someone a question.
I tell you what else got me as well was that presentation that came from Willem's group. He called it Newmont as well, and then also threw a curveball question to try and trip Sean up, and Sean managed to deflect it quite well. I thought.
What was that?
There was a question about something that you really shouldn't have asked questions about. I can't remember what it might have been about the PFS or something, but it was like a very no question. Like, don't ask that question, mate.
Hold on a second.
Show some respect.
That.
Yeah.
Isn't it where he's asking if Sean's going to buy shares or something?
Oh Christ, he doesn't do that, does he? I need to go back and watch it because I
think he does. I think he asks about why have you not basically bought any shares?
I mean, as much as that's cringeworthy, fuck, it's on the tip of my tongue. That's what I want to know. When you but of course, when you just pull yourself one step back from that, you realize this could be a family man. He could have it's
Do
his
you know what I mean?
personal investments have nothing to do with any of us, and we should all shut the fuck up.
I mean, maybe.
But putting it in the context of the CEO of the company with
Yeah.
25p options, when it hit 15.6p,
I think it's
what's
a
going on? You don't
question
even.
which
It's
is on the
poison
tips of
chalice.
everyone's tongue. It's a very tough question to ask. It
It's
is,
a
like you
poison
say, very
chalice.
personal.
He buys a small amount. We all hate him for
If
it.
he's in the room with, say, a very big investor, it's a different atmosphere, isn't it? Because you're dealing with huge sums of money. So just the generic public, if you like, it's a very invasive question.
Absolutely, it's you don't ask people how much they've got invested, do you? It's like
that's what I ask.
rules of
That's
investment.
what I ask on Investor Meets Company, and that's what they ignore because I've typed it in every opportunity I've got. It's not what William Middlecoop, who charges what, like, I actually looked at investing in his commodity discovery fund. When I saw the fees, I know he's done well, but I kind of I kind of thought, you know what, I'll just watch you on YouTube and use your advice on discovery holes. And I think if anyone's straying outside of GGP, that's the best advice you're going to find in the space. Wait for a discovery hole. Wait for a had 5. You know, if I can add value.
You miss the first wave. You like.
Yeah. How long did it take after I had 5? It was still like 3, 4, 5.
Well, this is what I mean. Like,
didn't do very much.
Here's the thing, right? And I've learned a lot of, like, technical analysis, but when I talk about waves, there's this concept called Elliott wave theory. I don't know if you've heard of it. Wave 1 goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, wave 1, if you like, can be linked to a discovery hole or some form of, like, first drill results. And then, but really, when you trade, you're trying to capitalize on wave 3, because the rule is wave 3 is not allowed to be the shortest. That is a
otherwise it invalidates.
It invalidates it. Yeah. So you trade wave 3. And then wave 3, I think, is normal. When you look at the Lassonde curve, I think wave 3 is the first sort of
speculative,
like, big one. But then wave 4 is the bit which is, or should I say wave 5, because wave 4 is a slight pullback. But wave 5, there's no rule to say that it can be the shortest. There's also no rule to say it can't be the longest.
Right.
In the mining space, I think wave 5 is the longest because it's the one where you're going up to production. Now, I've been saying this, you've been saying this, I think a few others have been saying this. I've been seeing Pierre Lassonde bloody, subjects on the LSE. When people get their head around that concept, they realise that this is exactly the path that Havron's following.
Totally. And it's so strange. I'm so glad you said that, Jamie. Sorry, because
I'm good with either.
Because I think from you it obviously carries more weight from a private investor like me or Bottle, and no offense, Bottle. It's so important. I've only been in the space 6 or 7 years, but I really have done my research, and I think what we have is very obviously a Lassonde curve, but what we also have is that everyone's got a valid argument here. What we also have is many Lassonde curves. If we discovered a Scally, we start another Lassonde curve.
Well, that's what, yes.
And so I think this is where our unique, sort of deposit, our unique position, our unique company, our unique jurisdiction, our unique processing plant down the road, all of those things come into play. We've got to look at the Lassonde curve. This is the time where the share price is depressed. This is the time where the institutions go, fuck it, I'm going to put it in wherever else I want to put it in. There's no revenue until there. I can just sit here and have a clean road until December with probably no news that moves the share price for more than 20 to 30% at most. And even then, I'm still happy to invest in a tier 1 ore body. And that's the institutional mindset. Why would you in any circumstance invest now? The PFS tells you it's a 3 megaton mine. We know it's not a 3 megaton mine. Of course, it's not a 3 megaton mine. It's the block cave. And at the moment, we know And we're banking on the fact that those eastern breccia, the northern breccia, and the resource is going to double. We can see it. We know it's here. But our money is the dead money. Our money is the dead money. Our money is the money waiting for the institutions to arrive so they can provide me with exit liquidity, because they are after 3 to 5% a year. I'm not after that at all. I'm after the re-rate when they arrive, and they will arrive, and I will wait, and I will be rewarded. And I think that's something you all need to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I think, if I'm honest, could that be a wonderful place to be leaving our conversation this evening,
I
gentlemen?
think so. I think so.
I think that's a lovely
Indeed.
statement, and I think that's a lovely way of wrapping up this conversation. We've been on air for 2.75 hours now, Stu. Well, maybe 2.5 hours.
It always amazes me. I said to someone at work, I was going on a podcast tonight, and they said, "Oh, is it for long?" I said, "I think last time we were on for 3 hours." Said, how could you be on for 3 hours? It's our passion. But let's leave it, because it's just us three, and we've always got to do this as private investors. Let's leave it with a share prediction. Come on. Come on.
I think you're gonna. I do believe with the run up to the MRE. I think whether that's because we think it could be December to February. I think in that period, in that run up, I think there's a good chance I would like to think we're 25p at that point. I think with a really good MRE upgrade, I think you then get back into the 30s. I think that's possible.
Yeah.
That's my sort of, that's what I want. I think what will happen is I think 25p is honestly realistic by Christmas. So that's my prediction.
Is that if the MRE comes in before Christmas? Because I genuinely think that MRE is coming in February when Newcrest bring their annual results out. Like every February they bring the previous years.
I think the rise going into the MRE could
So
speculate.
Do you know what? I think today changed my opinion. I was 100% in the February camp because, hey, they fucking moved the goalposts. Did you see how many results we had tonight? How many results we had tonight? What were we? We were eight ball was mentioned a few times. We had 33 or something. I'm going to go back obviously and just pour over the detail tomorrow. But it was bumper. It was more than bumper. It
Bonanza.
was fantastic. Yeah, it was bonanza. Fuck jury. No one cares. Okay. I'm gonna give my my share prediction.
So much.
And I hate to even give this share projection, but I think I'm gonna give you until December, because Magic did too. I think tomorrow we will spike to 18.5, possibly 19. I think we deserve 22, but this is my honest opinion.
This is AIM.
I experienced guessing in the fucking air. 18.5 to 19, I think we'll spike. And then I hate to fucking say it, I think we will drop back to 16 by the time we are
3 weeks.
A week before the next results.
Yeah, they'll push down.
In which case, then I think we'll rise back to our 18.5, 19, 20. And then I think we'll slowly, we'll stagnate until the MRE.
Okay, this is how it's going to go down. It will spike tomorrow. It will go down.
Where to?
It will spike to 18.7.
Come on, it's the best fucking drill results we've ever fucking had. Come on.
All right, okay. I'll give you 19.5p. It will drift down. However, right, going into the MRE, right, you will see 28p.
28.
Right.
So Magic's 25. Bottle's 28. I think prior to I'm going 23. 23, 25, 28.
Or what you'll get is a spike to 20, 22.5, 23, maybe 24 at a push. 24 is a good number. And then what will happen is the market will completely underestimate what's coming in this document, and the bastard thing will gap to 28 like that.
If all the unresearched people focus on size, I urge you to focus on grade.
Yeah, grade's king.
That's what I tell my wife.
Oh, hello. Let's leave it there. Jamie,
Right.
Jamie, thank you so much for joining
Yeah,
us.
no worries, guys.
As
It's
always,
always a pleasure.
we're a bit spare without you, and
Yeah,
can't thank you enough. I'm sure the sentiment's the same across the group, dude. Thanks.
man,
Yeah, no
the
worries, man.
comments speak for themselves. So many appreciated time this evening.
That's
Thank
really
you.
nice. I'll have a look at those before bed. But
We
yeah,
appreciate it.
Do that because it's a selfless task, and we all appreciate it, man. And you'll get great karma throughout your life. I promise you.
love that. Thank you. I
Take care,
appreciate
everybody.
it. See you next
Cheers,
time.
buddy.
Thank you all for watching. My name's Liam, and you've been watching GGP Help
Thank you,
Live
everyone.
TV. And Stu, thank you for your time again this
Sorry
evening,
about
mate.
the drunken speeches, but hey, it was fun.
It's what happens on results night.
Absolutely. Come on. I'm excited. I'm an excitable child.
The comments speak for themselves. People really enjoyed our show this evening, and that's what matters.
That's good. I haven't looked at any of them, but I will, and it's great. And thanks everyone for watching.
Absolutely.
If you're still here, and thanks to you, Bottle.
I've really enjoyed it.
I remember the day you were contributing to the group excessively.
Again.
And I went, this dude is epic, and I was like, can you be our admin? Can you join me in this journey? And ever since then, you've exceeded every expectation.
Oh, thanks, man.
You've owned it. You've owned it. I could never have made it into what it is today without you. And I think we all owe you quite a big debt of gratitude. You've risen to the echelons of Paddy, which I have to say is not something I ever thought any other GGP investor would do. So, I'm a bit jealous. It's not me. Bit jealous. I think I've got a grey beard and a pretty face, but a small head and it's a bit oddly shaped. So yeah, I understand. I understand the discrimination. Love you, Bottle. Love the community. Love
Take
you
care,
all.
man.
Thank you so much. And fuck the share price. We're on to a winner. If you boys can stay with us for the next few years, it'll change your lives.
You're going to be very, 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 very rich. And that's not share advice.
Yeah. You won't get this information on any other share. So
I've never seen it before.
You could actually be an idiot and make money with the information, hello. Case in point. Join us, sit tight, put your paycheck a little bit each month. This is the place to be. Nowhere else you'd rather be. Bottle, thank you.
All right, mate.
Great evening.
Take care. Bye-bye. I can't even stop coughing. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope, I know you've appreciated that and I know you've enjoyed that, but I've enjoyed it. It's been a great evening. 120 meters at 20 grams per ton. Maybe 10 grams per ton. I'll stop talking. I need to go and have some food. Take care. Thank you very much. My name's Liam and you've been watching GGP TV Live. Thank you and good night.